Well, a very good afternoon from Follett Field in Auckland for the final of the National Baseball Club Championship. It is North Shore taking on the Bayside Wolves. Yes, two Auckland City sides, one here on this side of the bridge and, of course, North Shore on the other. They might just say it is the war on the shore, perhaps not. Well, we're looking forward to this one. It's been a fascinating last 3 days, but the two best teams are in this final. And just having a look firstly at that North Shore team going through their final pre-game protocols. And very shortly we'll also have a look at the team representing the Bayside Wolves. Joining me in commentary today, we've got Mark Irwin, who's just come off the back of managing Counties Manukau to a bronze medal in this tournament. And alongside of him, Dale Budge. Mark Irwin, good afternoon, welcome.
Thanks, Mark.
Dale Budge, welcome.
G'day guys, yeah, great to be here, really looking forward to this final. I think as you rightly pointed out, two best teams in action across the weekend have progressed through to the final. We'll see the cream of the best domestic players in the country taking each other on. And Andrew Mark and the Bayside team with yet another final.
Yeah, Andrew Mark, clearly one of the real stars of the Tuatara, the homegrown talent with a remarkable season back in 2020, 2021. But he's pitching today. He's going to start on the mound, and that's originally where he started.
Yeah, reeling back to years. Andrew had a lot of success in his early days here in New Zealand as a starting pitcher. He was the best domestic pitcher in the country for many years with his HP side as a youngster. Won some national titles there in the sort of mid-2000s through into the 2010s, and then in more recent years he's become the hitter, the proficient hitter that we see him today as we know him today, and moved across with Bayside, and he's helped develop this phenomenal program that Bayside have had. It wasn't that long ago, Mark, that Bayside was struggling. They were on their knees as a club. They were struggling. They didn't have a premier side. They were struggling with numbers across the board, and the club was almost about to fall over. And we've seen some change. Andrew Bailey came in and took over and brought Andrew Mark in as the sort of pro coach as such, and look at them now, the success they're having across the board.
Oh, 100%.
And Mark Irwin, let's talk about Vincent Fagan, who will be pitching for North Shore.
Yeah, look, Vinny's a young man that's been around for a while now, very proficient out there. He won't struggle with this. He's used to the big moments. And I think you'll find him turn up. He knows the hitting power that he's up against. But the good thing about Vinny, he'll go at them. He will go at them and he won't back off. You know, he won't take a step backwards. He'll challenge the batters.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about pitching depth, because you go through very much the Bayside lineup. We know Duncan Isaacs, he's very effective too. Who has the better depth on the bench when it comes to the pitching?
Right now, I'd actually, in all fairness, give the North Shore probably the strength of the bullpen over the Bayside Wolves, just based on youth and ability, and they've probably saved the most arms for today. They've had a couple of good games through the tournaments where they've managed to save some arms. So, no, I'd certainly give North Shore the bullpen tick.
Yeah, I agree. I think North Shore's pitching might have a little edge. You know, starting pitchers aside, I think that in terms of bullpen, yeah, North Shore would have the edge there. Offensively, though, that's where Bayside are just such a threat. They have got power right through that lineup. They've got game breakers right through that lineup. They're going to have to do a really good job, North Shore, of shutting down this offence.
Okay, introducing the two teams now. Dan Tan, well-experienced manager, heavily involved with the Tuatara, coming out. So Adam Lau.
So you see Mike Bowler, I think, coming out in a minute. That's the father of Tyrone Bowler, who'll be starting shortstop, presumably, for North Shore today.
It's a young Rico Bowler, the bat boy.
Going to start up with the lineup.
Sota Watanabe coming out, and he is right field today. Taichi Naiko, the number 4, so he'll be at second base. Tyrone Bowler, the next player being introduced. Big responsibility him today at shortstop. Plenty of athleticism.
Yeah, those two players, middle infielders, Mark, both really proficient defensively. Again, a strength of the North Shore lineup. They're not big guys, they're not power hitters, compact hitters. They'll put the ball in play, they'll play small ball, they'll look to steal a lot, be aggressive on the base paths, and they'll do their job defensively.
Oh, without a doubt, both very athletic young men.
So just having a look at that there. So we had mentioned Rioma Fuse, and then Tyrone Bowler, Taylor Simmons, very experienced player.
You look through that lineup, the real strength, Macau, both the Macau brothers, Tyrone Bowler we've seen at Tuatara level. They probably don't have the offensive threats that Bayside possess. Bayside have guys that can blow a game open. these guys will work as a team. That'll be the strength of the North Shore. They'll look to play together. They'll play well together. They'll play small ball and try and do the basics really well.
There's a familiar name for a lot of people too, Ryota Okamoto.
You'll see him in action, the lefty out of the bullpen.
Yeah, very experienced, played a lot for the Tuatara. Unorthodox, fascinating guy to watch pitch because he doesn't really throw with any real heat, but he certainly is deceptive, is probably the best way of describing. Unorthodox but effective, Mark Irwin.
100%. And Ryota hasn't played a lot this year. This is probably his first time back at this tournament. He sort of sat himself out and had a bit of a rest for the season. But no, he's certainly got the movement.
Now we're going to introduce Bayside, very much the favourite for this final. And what a tournament Duncan Isaacs has had. First player about to be introduced, catching today. He can pitch. He's batting around 700 over the last 3 days. Quality player. And then Andrew Mark, arguably New Zealand's best domestic player.
Matt Thomas, first baseman for Bayside Wolves, a guy that's played at really high level college in the States, now going to be based in New Zealand. He'll become a player that the Tuatara will certainly be looking at. Scott Drinkwater's played extensively in the United States, really good player. Henry Leaborn, he's been on the fringe with the Tuatara as their sort of bullpen catcher. They are loaded from top to bottom, this Bayside Wolves outfit.
Yeah, Cooper Grant, interesting to see playing at shortstop today. Young player, big responsibility, but he's shown his pedigree. He's sort of been fringe with the Tuatara.
100% with Cooper, and he's travelled up from Nelson. He's spent a bit of time travelling up throughout the season playing for Bayside to qualify for this tournament. But wherever you put Cooper, he comes from good sporting pedigree. Of course, his dad, Marty Grant, was a Black Sox for a long, long time, and he's got a very mature attitude.
Yeah, I'm really impressed talking to Cooper during this tournament. Had a couple of conversations with him. Just, he's a very young man, but mature, head on his shoulders, well-spoken, goes about his business the right way. I think he's got a really, really bright future. I think it might be the odd player around like for like that might have more raw talent than him. Would that be fair to say, Mark? More raw talent? I think he, to me, is the closest thing we've got to the complete package. I think he's got the mental game.
You've only got to talk to his father, Marty Grant, and you sort of realise they're very much a no-nonsense. He understands high-level performance. He realises that professionalism is a state of mind, and, if you don't maybe have that natural athleticism that perhaps somebody else has, you can make it up by just being on time, by doing the little things, by doing the peripheral work, by just practice. And that's what I like about it. And that's the sense you get at watching Cooper Grant.
Oh, look, we're very lucky to have these young guys like Cooper, Tyrone Bowler, Taichi Nakao, who all bring a work ethic and a strong maturity to the game.
Well, one of the great traditions in all of baseball, the playing of the national anthem. And a great rendition, and great to see such a strong Asian influence in the sport of baseball in this country. Of course, national sports in Korea, Japan, and much of Asia as well, the sport of baseball. Umpires today, Warren Van Ruin will be calling the balls and the strikes as the home plate umpire. Travis Watson at first, and we've got Michael Vukovic at second and Mike Smith at third base. They are your four umpires for this national final. Well, the two managers, they'll be coming to home plate. looking at each
Two
other
guys.
in the eye, trying to sort of psych each other out a little bit and handing in their official team sheets.
Oh, they're two guys that grew up together. They played all their baseball together. They're good friends off the field. John Lee, or Yong Min Lee is his official name. Daniel Tan from North Shore, two guys that had great fortune of playing. They taught me how to play the game as they were teenagers. I was in my 20s when started out, and there is a whole lot of baseball nous and experience amongst those two people. Mick Carter also I see on the bench for the Bayside Wolves, another player that came through that same era. Plenty of experience. While we're doing that, just a couple of shout-outs too, Mark. Vince Stephanie, who's been a long-serving player for Howick Hawks over the years, started out, I think this is his 26th year of Premier Baseball in the Auckland region. He's retiring. He's just finishing up, I think, the battle for the 5th, 6th position for the Howick side. Just a little stint, little cameo at Bayside towards the end of his playing career, but he's finishing, and a guy that's been a great servant to the sport, pioneer really in many ways, finishing up. And someone who's standing not too far away from me too, Pandy Fruin, who's sort of camp mother of baseball in this country and has been for a very long time. This will be her last national tournament and she'll be greatly missed, very popular amongst the baseball community, and has done a magnificent job to grow the sport to where it is now.
Yeah, well said indeed. Mark Irwin, we've just seen the two managers coming together, having a chat with the umpires. What's said there? You're in that situation about 3 or 4 hours ago when you lined up for that bronze medal game?
Yeah, basically the umpires just going over the ground rules for you, making sure that the players hustle on and off the field, that things are kept under control, and really that's about it. Invite each other out for a barbecue later.
Okay, so the home side for this particular game is the Bayside Wolves, so they therefore bat second. North Shore are the away team, and it will be North Shore who will lead this particular final off. And up first for them will be Sota Watanabe, and it will be Andrew Mark on the mound, who played outfield for the Tuatara and batted sort of 300 that season, but he started right back in the day with the Brisbane Bandits as a pitcher as well. Runs the field house here in Howick Pakuranga, so interesting. Also to see Duncan Isaacs catching, and having a chat to Duncan before this game, he said, look, this is really only probably up the second game in a long time that he's been catcher. So
there's a bit of a plan there. So the school have thought out a sneaky chat to Pinky before we started. The plan there is that North Shore run really well on the base paths, and so the thinking is to try and combat that with Duncan's arm. They feel that might be a little bit stronger than Henry Leaborn's arm. Henry will move over to third base. They'll still want Henry's bat in the lineup, but Duncan Isaacs at catcher for that very reason. They feel that's the way that they're going to score runs against them, as North Shore, is by running.
Okay, so this will be an intriguing contest. Interesting, Andrew Mark, how much pitching has he done over the summer?
Not too much, I think. He threw a couple of innings earlier on in this tournament, but no, I'd say he's probably only pitched a handful of innings over the summer. Certainly something he doesn't do a lot of these days.
But he brings experience, and let's not underestimate it.
Oh, big game experience too. Like, he's pitched in a number of these finals. I know I played with him, and all the national titles I won as a player were with him on the mound on finals day in the gold medal game. And
so we are underway. Sota Watanabe leading off for North Shore. Andrew Mark on the mound for the Bayside Wolves. Immediately Mark, a high ball, outside, ball called, 1-0 the count.
The one thing that this North Shore team do bring to the bat is a lot of patience in the box, a lot of patience.
Well, they'll be trying to have some very good at-bats, soak up a lot of pitches here, test the arm of Andrew Mark, find out just how much energy there is in the tank that time, showing his experience, fast ball but high ball, so he'll get an early indication from Warren Van Rooyen exactly what his strike zone is.
Warren's the best umpire in the country, without question, has been for a long time. Good to see him behind the dish, calling balls and strikes in this one.
Again, strike call, so just clip the outside corner of the plate.
And I think where Pinky could end up deceiving us, if he gets any feeling we're thinking he's getting tired, he'll probably throw harder.
Yep. The ultimate competitor, Andrew Mark.
Yep.
For those that just joined us, didn't see the bronze medal game. Very stiff breeze blowing in from left field. Will assist Andrew. So coming over his right shoulder, make it very difficult to drive the ball deep for these North Shore hitters. So hard enough already. So
Andrew Mark finds himself behind on the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Watanabe showing plenty of patience. So often these players of Asian descent, incredibly well disciplined, understand the mechanics of the game. This time outside, strike called. So again, this is the early thing that we will see from Warren Van Ruin. He seems to be happy with that strike zone, just on the outside, kind of the corner of the plate. So
Watanabe was taking all the way then. That was never coming off his shoulder.
So 3 balls, 2 strikes. This time, bat on ball. Foul call. Count remains the same. And Mark, just looking at the pitching style of Andrew Mark, would you describe him as orthodox?
I would. Certainly, Mark, it's a pretty standard sort of mechanic. He's very fluent, flows through the pitch really nicely, learns to decelerate at the end of it, save the arm. As you saw there, you know, a lot of velocity for very little movement, very little action.
So now Taichi Nakao to hit from the right side of the plate for North Shore.
So Watanabe being struck out, but did soak up a few pitches early on from Andrew Mark. But Mark, you're just starting to get a bit of a sense now he will start to settle down.
This is one of the best age group players in the country, Nakao.
Well, he was a key part of North Shore's winning that under-19 tournament, wasn't he, in February, which I had the pleasure of calling, and I was very, very impressed by the Nakao brothers and the way they do play the game. Again, we talk about those players that come out of Asia with that agency set. They're just so incredibly well drilled, aren't they? Great discipline, great mechanics. So right-handed batter, Andrew Mark makes the adjustment.
He's a good two-way player too. He pitched a 7-inning shutout game against China in China a couple of years ago on the regional tournaments.
So 1-1 the count. Mark, plenty of heat on that too. Foul ball away. So 1-2 now the count.
There's been a radar on Andrew in recent times. Looking, just judging the eye test here, I'd say mid-80s at best.
I'd say that where it'd probably top out right now would be mid to sort of, well, I wouldn't even say the late 80s. I'd say sort of low to mid 80s.
All high, ball called.
You'll throw a lot of fastball.
I was going to ask you that, Dell. Is there a lot of, what sort of repertoire does he have? Has he got a good change-up? Does he throw a good curveball? Because at the moment we're really just sort of seeing, I guess, high, fast, occasional little slider thrown in.
Yeah, mainly fast change, isn't it, Mark? Really?
Fast change. He used to try and run a 12-6 when he was with the Bandits, a curveball, but his change and his fast baller is two key sort of pitches that he does throw. And he's always been very successful. Most of the MLB hitters will tell you the two they struggle with the most is a good change-up and a good fastball. If you can master those, you're on your way.
So 2-2 the count, 1 out. Another foul ball away, pops that up.
It was a good battle.
Duncan Isaacs looking to try and come around, take the catch, but well and truly into foul territory. And that's what we can often talk about. It. Good at bat, yes, you might end up getting struck out, but if you can soak up 9, 10, 11 pitches in the process of doing it, it's going to pay dividends later on in this game. It forces the change of the pitcher earlier than perhaps they want. So Mark this time goes straight down Broadway, strike given. So there it's 2 up, 2 down for Mark. It's a great example of just that change in speed, isn't it? That one there puts full noise on it, the full velocity. Previous pitches, not quite as quick.
And I think for the fact he hasn't pitched for so long, every now and then getting a couple of early strikeouts will really set him in the right sort of mode and tone to get through this game.
Absolutely. Tyrone Bowler now. Had a really good tournament, Tyrone.
Played for the Tuatara back in that second season. Has a look at that outside.
You know, we're going to have very patient batters with a pitcher like Pinky that will challenge the batter too. You know, he'll put it on the spot, and if they want it, they've got to go get it. So it's going to be a good battle.
Let's have a look at Bowler. This time again, repeat pitch, a replay.
Interesting about the defensive
Outside.
positioning here, Mark. You've got Henry Leaborn quite shallow at third base, and shortstop playing Cooper Grant playing very deep back on the grass. We know that North Shore play that way, very deep infield.
This time Gibson swinging.
Just thinking about a bunt potentially.
That's what I'm thinking. We know the speed that Tyrone brings, and he has that ability to push the bunt up the line and just go with the bat. And I think they're looking to cover that.
So 2 balls, 1 strike. Tyrone Bowler. This time, what does...
Just outside, I think.
That's interesting because that must be very, very close to that strike zone that we've seen so far from Warren Van Ruin.
Sitting right behind the plate here, watching that come through. It was outside, just missed.
It was pretty good.
3 balls, 1 strike. Plenty of heat on this, foul ball away. So good at bat from Bowler.
Certainly making Mark work here. All three of these at-bats have been good.
You see now after the 2 strikes already called, Henry's already taken a few steps back now.
Yep.
Pretty much taken the bunt out of play.
So full count, 2 outs. This time, another foul ball. Looks for the fast ball on the inside. Bowler, though, gets a bit of bat on ball. Soaks up yet again another pitch from an Andrew Mark, who, again, hasn't done a lot of pitching, so you do have to maybe question his muscular endurance over a 9-inning game.
I think the fact that you'll question him, he'll just work harder.
Outside, and he gets the walk, so runner on base. Tyrone Bowler having a very good at-bat, and now that will bring Taylor Simmons batting 4 hole, 4 North Shore.
Now, this is where the game starts. Let's have a look at Dan Tan at third base. Manager already busting out some signs. I expect him to be extremely aggressive here. Bowler will have a green light whenever the opportunity arises.
A runner like Tyrone on board is exactly why you explained earlier. We've got Duncan in there.
Yeah, so Isaac's got a very good arm on, and they'll be aware of it too for the sudden change. So Bowler versus Isaacs. The runner on first versus the catcher. That is the game of cat and mouse when it comes to stealing base. One thing with Andrew Mark, because he doesn't bring a lot of variety in his repertoire, there's not going to be a likelihood that he's necessarily going to throw something in the dirt. You're not going to see a lot of wild pitches get away from Isaacs.
If anything, they'll be high. If he loses control of anything, it'll come in high.
So there won't necessarily be that automatic moving from first to second. Good from Mark, keeping Bowler on his toes.
Used to have a very good pick-off move, Andrew Mark, once upon a time. A lot of us have been embarrassed by that over the years.
Why hasn't he still got it, Dale? You're implying that he hasn't got it.
I'm saying I haven't seen him pitch for a while, so it's not to suggest that it's not there.
Oh, that's a great pitch.
That was
that's
a
what we
curveball,
talk about. Yeah, the curveball.
Is that 12-6?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wily campaigner. He is as competitive as they get, Andrew Mark. If we are playing cards, he will be as competitive at that as he is playing baseball, as he is to watching 2
game wild pitch, and now immediately we will see Tyrone Bowler. Will he get called round to third? No. So Dan Tan says no, just stay there on second in scoring position now. And you talked about it, and that's maybe just where we haven't seen a lot of Andrew Mark, have we? Just a little bit out of practice, that execution not quite there, just the mechanics.
Definitely, and you've got a guy with the experience on first base like Matt Thomas, so, you know, a guy like that's a great backup to have, but the throw was just way off. There was no way Matt was getting to that.
No, that was definitely on Pinky.
Now, if you're wondering why Pinky is called Pinky, just have a look at the colour of his cheeks at the moment.
Give it an hour. Let's see how they are.
Yep. So it comes back. Good pitch. What does Warren call?
Just high.
Just high. So Warren Van Ruin's strike zone appears to be probably lower rather than higher. Andrew will get a pretty good quick read on that.
Well, with the change in the strike zone this year from the MLB, it has lowered from the top end and got up slightly higher from the bottom end, so there has been a definite change this season.
Taylor Simmons, and he strikes him out, and so they do get themselves out of jail. Andrew Mark. So as we head into the bottom of the first, it is still scoreless, and the first opportunity now for North Shore to come into the outfield, and we'll see what their pitcher, Vincent Fegan, can do.
Get to work a little bit. Andrew Mark and the Bayside team in that half inning.
But they've got a very good pitching lineup. We've talked about, haven't they? They can go to Duncan Isaac. So looking at this, from what you're saying, do you think Andrew?
I think they're a little more. I think that's where they.
But do you think can you see Andrew going beyond 4 innings?
Oh, he's competitive. Yeah, if he's.
Well, look, it's all very well being competitive, but you've also got to be smart and sensible.
I can see him going, but I think the blueprint here for North Shore is if they can get to Pinky early, if they can get to him in the second or third inning here, make him work and maybe tack on a couple of runs here. All of a sudden, if they have to make an early change, they go to Isaacs earlier, they go to someone else. I don't know that they were necessarily planning on that. I think the plan will be for Pinky and Duncan to throw the majority of these 9 innings.
Well, Duncan Isaacs, let's just quickly, before we just have a chat about Fegan here on the mound, but Isaac, what a tournament he's had. He's batting well above 700. He can catch, he can pitch. He's an all-round baseballer, isn't he? He's sort of Mr. Do It All, Mr. Fix It.
Oh, absolutely. He's had a fantastic tournament. He's been there or thereabouts in the New Zealand baseball scene for a number of years now. Had an opportunity with the Tuatara in the opening season. Wouldn't be far off being in that conversation again as we move forward. He's had a phenomenal tournament, had a phenomenal season, played really well at the Auckland in the Auckland Club competition as well.
Okay, Mark Hewen, let's talk a little bit more about Fegan on the mound. What does he bring? What's his strengths?
Vinny doesn't bring lights out velocity. Vinny just brings control and location. He can throw in. I think he has both a 2 and a 4-seam fastball. But again, it's not lights out, but he can locate extremely well.
Just explain that terminology, a 2 and a 4-seam fastball.
The two different, you've got the 2-seam fastball. The 4-seam, basically...
Sorry about that, just not the drink over, but here we...
No, we don't have a camera on
So
this.
you've got the 4-seam there where you're using all 4 seams of the baseball, and that will generally give you the heat and the dead straight ball. With the 2-seam fastball on just the 2 seams, the guys can get a tail end off the end of that. But with Vinny, really he'd probably go to the 2 more than the 4 because he doesn't have that velo.
Yeah, just explain that for non-baseball aficionados out there. And so... Fegan, he looks like a relatively young man. He's sort of doesn't appear to have spent a lot of time in the gym, but that's not a bad thing because you can always build the player.
He hasn't spent a lot of time in the barber either, just say.
Yeah, early 20s,
Some of us are jealous.
young Vinny.
Duncan Isaacs has a look at that first curveball, and that's a nice first up pitch too. So that takes courage, very first pitch of this inning, of this championship, to throw that curveball.
And ironically, you look at the size of him, and his brother Matt, if he's in the lineup today, will come up to bat. He's about 4 years his junior, but about 3 times his senior in size.
So Isaacs bat to ball, foul ball down that right field line. So 0-2 the count, finds himself behind early. Good start for Fegan.
Duncan is the threat to North Shore on base as Tyrone Bowler would be to Bayside on base. Yeah,
plenty of athleticism.
Very aggressive too, loves to test arms of catches and whatnot. There's something
low and outside, so 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sorry, mate. Something can be said for a team that comes in as overwhelming favourites as Bayside are. They are unbeaten in the tournament. They are expecting to win this game. Now, if North Shore can stay with them for 4 or 5 innings, if they can get a lead in those first few innings, all of a sudden that pressure of the expectation becomes a factor. And I've seen it before with sides. I've played in some HP teams that were at a similar position years ago, and that pressure of we expect to be winning and we're not in control at the midway point becomes a factor.
Well, that's it, isn't it? The teams that always win put the pressure on them. We're not used to being in this position. Then suddenly they have to sort of work out how they're going to get themselves out of the hole. And that's why sometimes I always say you've got to learn how to lose before you learn how to win.
And the skill and the maturity as a manager of Dan Tan, he will bring that to the game, knowing if they can be there after 4 or 5 and look, like anybody, put under pressure, ball and play, force the errors, run the base as well.
2-2 is the count. So intriguing contest, this first up bat for Bayside. Nice curveball, strike not given, so tough ball. Might just get you to have a look at that one again, Dale Budge.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. Just have to have a look where it missed.
So 3 balls, 2 strikes, full count. Fegan. He's got his catcher in Bunji Nakao. That's high, and he walks, so runner on base. So Isaacs gets himself on base, which will bring up Andrew Mark now, who we know for the Tuatara season of 2020-2021 was batting sort of 330, 340 for most of the season.
The next 2 or 3 batters in the Bayside lineup just bring power, absolute beast power with the bats, and having Duncan in front of them on the bases.
But you talk about power, but we've also talked about the wind here today. You can see the wind in the background. Is power enough, though, or have you got to be strategic in ball placement? Power enough alone?
Not so much in this game now with the wind, but they have enough power that when they play and bat strategically, they're still going to do some good things with that ball.
Okay, Isaac's there, looking to try and steal second, so this will be a good little battle too.
There are a few things in North Shore's favour here. I mean, the conditions will play into North Shore's hands a wee bit, given that it just takes away that raw power to the same degree as it might otherwise have had. You can see left field is playing very deep for North Shore as we speak.
Now, contrast between Andrew Mark and what we're seeing here from Fegan. Fegan clearly a left-handed pitcher, so he has that ability, doesn't he? He doesn't have to turn to try and get Isaacs out. He just looks directly across at first base. Then Isaac's gone, and Mark gets a good hit on, bit of bat on ball there. Not quite sure how that's played out. So we're going to have runners on first and second, are we? Yep. So first and second. So Andrew Mark, just off that second pitch, gets up, and it is a ground ball to left field by the looks of it. It is just over the head of third base. And so Andrew Mark continuing the good form, continuing to show the experience that arguably has given him the label of the best domestic player in New Zealand.
Oh, look, Duncan and Pinky know each other so well too. You know, Duncan would have been aware that there was a swing coming in there.
I think that was a hit and run play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Matt Thomas now at the plate for the Bayside Wolves.
Big, tall, lanky character, isn't he, Thomas?
Wonderful young man, very humble. As you're saying, played college ball at a very high level in the US.
Due to graduate, I think, this year as he grounds into shortstop.
But I don't think
Can't
he's
see.
heading back, which won't see him graduate, unfortunately.
Oh, runners on first, second and third, is it? So safe at first, so just a little bit of a fumble there at shortstop for North Shore. And you've got to feel a little bit for Tyrone Bowler. Let's just have a wee look at this. Just gets a slightly bad bounce, doesn't he? Bowler doesn't quite get that timing right. Suddenly runners on first, second and third. So Isaacs moves to third. Andrew Mark on second. Matt Thomas on first. Scott Drinkwater comes up. No outs. It is very much advantage to the Bayside Wolves.
Drinkwater dealing with a left shoulder injury. Popped out, I think, in the earlier games.
Foul ball away.
Getting some work on it while we were prepping for commentary.
Scott brings a lot of experience too. Played good, a lot of college ball out of Kansas. Also did a small internship with the Kansas City Royals
Very good
before
baseball
coming
brain.
back to New Zealand.
Board member of Baseball New Zealand these days too, Scott Drinkwater.
So 1-1 the count. Slightly
Part of
high.
the full-time coaching staff.
So ideal start here for Bayside. Bases loaded, no outs.
Gets a swinging this time. Much good. That's a good pitch. Good comeback pitch there from Fagan.
And he will have the green light to swing away here.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And does this time. Good line drive up through to left field. Runner will come home. Isaacs crosses home plate, but they keep Andrew Mark on third. And Matt Thomas moves to second. Drinkwater on first. So 1 run scored. Bases still loaded.
You know, John Lee's thinking real smartly here, how he gets his batters to just put the ball in play on the ground station to station right now. Really good batting. With this wind, he's not looking to see it in the air, just seeing it through.
Yeah, don't try and overhit the ball here. Just make good contact, put it into a gap.
Good fielding in left field there from Sota Watanabe. Didn't really have a lot he could do with it. That's a good pitch, so immediately comes back with a good strike. And so we've got Hiromi Sone.
I like this guy. Good swing on him.
This time gets the runner at home. And so the first out. Good play there on that occasion by Fagan. Didn't panic too much. Realised the out was at home plate after a slight fumble. So slowly digging their way out of a very, very deep hole.
Just Henry Leeborn now. Played mostly at catcher for Bayside this season.
Oh, it's a great batting lineup, isn't it?
His first 4 at-bats in this tournament, he was hit by pitch. It felt like he had a target on him.
He started to get a bit of anger into him on day 3 after that, but
So that
Kept telling him to stop leaning in.
a couple of glances towards the mound.
this time, strike call.
Buck's worse than the bite, Mark.
Definitely with Henry, a very, very nice young man.
So 1 ball, 1 strike.
Remember when he was 10 or 11 hanging around the ballpark when we'd set up for nationals? Loves the game.
And skies that ball, foul ball. Count will move now to 1 ball, 2 strikes, but still runners on first, second and 30, or ducks on the pond.
Love a ground ball out here. They can roll 2 and get out of the inning. If we can avoid putting up a crooked number here in this position, North Shore would be very, very relieved.
Oh, that must be just outside of Van Ruin's strike zone. Catcher just moving out there slightly to the right. Just have another look at this. Just high.
A good pitch, just high.
As we say that, another foul ball down that left field line.
We got a piece of that though, up into the breeze.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But it definitely was high. The ball now has dropped from here. The zone's gone down a ball this season. So what we're used to seeing is a high.
As I've said, Mark, all you want is consistency. And as long as Warren or the home plate umpire is consistent with both teams, whether their strike zone's a high zone or a low zone, we just want consistency. And the pitcher just needs to know too. This time gets plenty. He launches that one, doesn't he? It's long, but it's going to hold up in the wind, and the catch will be taken by Soto Watanabe. But the runner will come home and score. So 2 runs to nothing to Bayside.
Good job from Henry Leaborn putting the ball in play. Got enough on it. Thomas tagged up, and they tack on a second run.
Now Eric Greenwald, as we have another look at that, you'd think probably on a calmer day that might have been out of the park.
We've seen a few out of the park up on number 2 during the week. Not so many down here.
So Greenwald
heading into this breeze.
He's the left field today for this Bayside team.
Have a look.
Look at that first pitch. It's outside and high.
Have a look for a double steal here on anything off speed, perhaps.
They'll be looking for that ball down.
Yeah.
Move the runners across now.
Swinging that time. That's a good comeback pitch.
They have been aggressive in the tournament. Bayside.
They've had that approach, haven't they, the whole week?
Yep. So 1-1 count.
Get some swinging foul ball. So 1 and 2 will be the count now. Just get you to explain how the foul ball count works for those non-baseball aficionados, Dale.
So foul count is a strike until you have 2 against you, and any additional fouls, that's fine, unless you're bunting or you foul tipped, caught by the catcher, in which case you're out.
So Vincent Fagan is the pitcher for North Shore, catching for him today, and they'll have a good relationship as Bunji Nikau.
And Cooper Grant on deck for Bayside, he would be next.
The wonderful program over there at North Shore. A lot of these guys have gone through from under 13s, under 11s, all the way through together. They know each other very well.
The young side, under 20 champions, and gets plenty about on that. Watanabe, all he can do is wait for it to bounce and look to throw to home plate, and another runner will score.
No run scored, just loaded the bases.
Okay, my apologies.
So Drinkwater held up at third by Yongmin Lee. So now the base is loaded for Cooper Grant. 2 out still, so North Shore just need to worry about the 1 out.
So he was held back, wasn't he? Yep, you can just sort of see here that John Lee says no.
Scott doesn't bring the speed that probably was needed at that point.
Oh, that was low, but strike called. So Cooper Grant. See what the young man out of Nelson can do. Big future. Quality young man. Did score a run for the Auckland Tuatara back in 2020, 2021.
Absolutely. He will certainly be in the frame, you think, for a contract. Certainly be involved with the program at the very least. Got a new initiative I can talk to you about maybe once we get a change of inning here, Mark.
This is a good at-bat, isn't it? Right across the board for Bayside. Just soaking up so many pitches for Vincent Fagan, the young man. You have to sort of go through there and wonder just how much depth they've got in their pitching lineup.
Just a little bit of groundwork being done down there, down the third base line.
So Grant finds himself behind on the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 2 outs, bases are loaded. And Cooper Grant will ground ball down to third, and they should be able to pick him off at first. And the out is given, and that will bring that inning to a close. But it's an inning where Bayside have scored 2 runs. And as we head to the top of the second, it is Bayside leading North Shore 2 runs to nothing.
Yeah, so we see Cooper Grant trying to beat out that throw.
Must have been close though, eh?
umpire's probably listening more than seeing just about in that thing, the bang-bang play like that. Yeah, so look, a new initiative that Tuatara looking at bringing in for the next season is trying to put together a composite Auckland side to play midweek against Tuatara players, give the best local players an opportunity to test themselves against some of those players that are at that higher level. Yeah, some of the fringe players. So, yeah, the Cooper Grants of that from last season. Duncan Isaacs we're seeing in this game, Henry Leaborn, those sorts of characters getting an opportunity to play against the professional players. Certainly some of the guys that aren't getting, there are a lot of players that want to come down here at Tuatara level and get as many at-bats as possible, so that's a chance to give them some more at-bats.
Yeah, but it's not dissimilar, is it? I mean, we see the major league clubs, they've got the AA, their AAA, so they've got those feeders, haven't they? I mean, you look at the Wellington Phoenix, they've got a football team in the national football competition at the junior level. We see the under-20s for the Blues, and so it makes sense that a professional franchise does have a development squad in which they can call on, which is getting regular game time. And so, there's not something that naturally happens here, so it's something you might have to manufacture. Great initiative. And first up pitch, and opportunity here. You'd imagine the runner might be safe on first, and the runner is given out, is he?
Well, that was a tight play.
Yeah, I'd like to have another look at that.
Tight call. One of those ones that, depending on which side of the fence you sit on, you have a view.
Let's just have a wee look here.
As we go to Fuse.
So Taylor Simmons, the hitter. Let's have another look here. Oh, don't know about that.
I think he was safe, wouldn't he?
Oh, I think he was safe. Yep, pretty close. And now Bunji Nakau, and he will be safe on first.
Again, that wind holding the ball up, allowing the right fielder there to actually have a play at one.
Was it Rioma Fuse? My apologies.
I think it was Fuse that was out at first, so that's Bunji Nakau that's just got the base hit.
Yeah, it was Bunji Nakau with the base hit, and it was Rioma Fuse who ended up being given out. And so runner on first, one out. And now we've got Jacob Brothers, designated hitter. Takes a first swing at Andrew Mark. Finds himself, now the count.
Jacob doesn't,
0-1, I think.
Jacob doesn't bring a great hitting mechanic to the plate, but he's got a good head and he's got some power when he connects.
One ball, one strike is the count. Inside, strike call. So
great positioning and glove work by Duncan there.
There's your previous pitch, you got Andrew Mark shaking his head, disagreeing with the strike zone, and you got the hitter disagreeing with the strike zone there, Brothers. Can't win as an umpire.
You said, depending on which side of the fence you're sitting at the time.
You got a split second to make a call.
And that is the second out of the inning. And so Jacob Brothers strike out.
So you'll see there, even though Isaac's lost control of that pitch, the batter's automatically out because first base was occupied. Without occupation there on first base, that runner had
would need to be tagged.
Yeah, it would need to be tagged or a play made at one.
Okay, that explains that for you. Hope you are enjoying the coverage of this year's National Baseball Club final between the two Auckland sides. The Bayside Wolves, based in sort of St Heliers, almost East Auckland, up against the North Shore City. Andrew Mark played right field, centre field for the Tuatara on the mound pitching.
Ramus Demon.
Ramus Denon. He is the first base for North Shore.
It's one of the Musketeers, wouldn't it? Ramus?
I think you're right.
Portos Ramus.
I think you're right there, Budgie.
From a baseball standpoint, Aramis Ramirez, very handy power hitter for the Chicago Cubs and other teams over the years.
Musketeer or possibly a Ninja Turtle, one of them.
No, the Ninja Turtles are all the arts ones. I got those ones covered. Good piece from Aramis.
And that'll go high, and that catch should be comfortably taken there in right field, and it is. So Scott Drinkwater with the catch, and that will bring the inning to a close. So as we head to the bottom of the second, it is still Bayside leading 2 runs to nothing over North Shore.
You actually see where the wind is playing a factor there, how shallow Scott was playing. That was hit pretty well. Good contact off the bat, but he caught that in pretty shallow right field. And I think he saw that earlier in the innings. He made a play at right field.
Well, good economy here from Andrew Mark. He hasn't sort of used a lot of pitches, hasn't he, in that second inning? Got through that batting order fairly quickly. And now the pressure goes back on North Shore, and it is pressure early in this game. They do run 2 runs to nothing, but I've got to say, you sort of sensed in that bottom of the first that Bayside had opportunity really to pile on the runs, didn't quite get the job done. Bases were loaded when the third out did come.
That breeze is a real factor. I mean, we can hear it coming through the microphone.
You can see
it's
there.
picked up. You can see it in the background of the shot with the advertising canopy sort of blowing in the background. The other thing, if you're not used to playing here, and both these two sides probably are, to be fair, but you're not used to playing at this venue, as you get further up, the wind gets stronger. It's a very flat part of Auckland, not many hills around, there's nothing much to protect, not a whole lot of shrubs or trees or anything to give you any sort of break. So when the ball gets up in the breeze, it can really hold up. I guess it feels less windy at ground level than it does up a little bit. So here you go, 32 pitches for Fegan through that first inning, so he had to work. It might only be about 32 pitches thrown or thereabouts through 2 innings for his counterpart.
So Reid Fowler is the next batter up for the Bayside Wolves, batting 9-hole. He is at second base today.
Young Reid was an old boy of Bayside back in the day when they were very strong. Made a lot of national youth sides for New Zealand and had a couple of years away from the game and has come back to play. Not a big stature of a man, but certainly a baller.
That's the beauty of baseball. Doesn't matter what size you are. Spot for you.
Good first up pitch from Vincent Fegan. That'll settle him down early. You want to get a hit on the count here. Try and get this out quickly and then go back to the top of the order with Isaac's mark. Get some swinging. Just gets the end of the bat on that and should be safe at first, should he? The throw comes from Bowler and he's out. So,
Called safe.
Was he? So, my apologies.
Great work by Reid, getting down that line as quick as he could, then throwing himself into that head first dive, fully stretched.
What I was looking at,
There we
because I
go.
felt he was safe, and I thought for some reason the umpire had called him out, but
That's a good call. Travis Watson at first. Good umpire, Travis Watson. Seen him do some of the ABL games.
now top of the order though. Danger for North Shore. Doesn't get any easier. Isaacs, Mark, Thomas, Drinkwater.
Your thoughts on sliding into first base, Mark? Are you a fan of it? Not a fan of it.
Look, if you get it right, yes, but I think it can also do a lot of damage. I've seen it go wrong over the years.
I've never understood it. You can't possibly get in quicker diving, can you, than running? Because as soon as you hit the ground, you're going to be losing velocity.
I think by the time you actually set yourself to dive, you are losing that speed.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I wonder though whether it's almost just intuition, isn't it? And it's just
Like if you're
I don't know,
betting out a
if you're
tag,
desperate,
sure.
you feel like you need to dive to get somewhere, and I just wonder whether that's almost just automatic. No different if you found yourself in some sort of life-threatening sort of situation.
And also the problem with diving forward into a fixed base, if your fingers are in the wrong places, I mean, the chances of broken fingers.
Yeah. I remember
very high.
Andrew Mark doing that once at a final here, gold medal match years ago. Top of the first, he hadn't pitched all tournament. They saved him for the gold medal game, and he tore a hamstring diving into first. Never got to throw a pitch in the tournament.
So 1-2 now the count. That was a high ball. So Reid Fowler on first, trying to steal second. Duncan Isaacs,
This could be very dangerous. for
top
North
of the order for Bayside.
with the speed that both Fowler and Isaacs possess. If they get both of these guys on base, it could be very dangerous.
Absolutely. Hasn't put on a lot of weight, Isaacs, over the years, but you feel he's improved his power in recent times. Not just a contact hitter, but a guy that can drive the ball into a gap now. And
Very proficient with the whole side of the game, from the bunt, from the short ball, all the way through to the long ball if needed.
This time ground ball up through to second base, looking for the double play. And they won't get it, so they get the out at second, but runner on first.
there's that speed that you talk about, Mark Irwin. So both of them, Fowler putting pressure on at second, and then Isaac's beating out the throw to get out of the double play. Boy, not sure I've loved to have turned that.
Nice piece of fielding, though, there from the second baseman.
And I mean, Fowler got a great secondary and took off really well, a good jump. Yeah, I think Fegan here will really be trying to keep Duncan close.
Duncan Isaac works at the field house full time. Does a bit of coaching, personal coaching out of there. Works out of the field house. So him and Andrew Mark spend a lot of time talking baseball, plotting, analysing. Like baseball school.
Oh, straight down the middle. Nice pitch on that occasion from Fegan. So 1-1 the count.
6 months a year talking about their fantasy side.
Makes it very difficult to beat them in fantasy baseball, let me tell you that.
And Isaacs decides to go. Now the throw comes, so they pick him off at second. The throw's not good enough, so Isaacs using all of that speed and experience. And now a runner in scoring position for Bayside.
And what that sort of speed brings is you'll see there, in a way, the catcher rush. Bunji Nakau actually had to rush, get up and make that throw, didn't allow his feet to set properly.
So Andrew Mark, like a coiled spring, just waiting to pull that trigger.
Changed his action, hasn't he, over the last couple of years?
He had a lot of success. Darren Bragg worked with him, and I know Talking Pinky really enjoyed working with Darren and breaking down baseball.
He gets that, doesn't quite get a lot on that. It's just a pop-up ball, and catch is taken there by Tyrone Bowler at shortstop.
It was almost Q-tip that, got that right at the end of the bat.
So Isaacs remains on second. Andrew Mark finds his way back to the dugout, and it is 2 outs. So this is a better inning from North Shore. Better inning from Vincent Fegan, the pitcher.
A lot of people that were involved with the Tuatara talk very highly of Darren.
Yes.
Wonderful hitting coach.
He had a very successful major league career himself.
So
You don't do the things that he's done at the places that he's done without having some ability. A guy that gets the best. He's quietly spoken. He's not a big talker, not someone who likes a lot of limelight, but behind the scenes, one-on-one with some of those Tuatara hitters, they really enjoyed the time spent with Darren.
just outside with that curve ball from Fegan. Just trying a little bit with that change up. Didn't quite get the release point right. But we've got Drinkwater at the plate. 2 outs, runner on second.
I think that's Matty Thomas at bat. Scotty's Drinkwater's on deck right now.
Yeah, this is Thomas. I know Darren Bragg has been following this tournament. Seen a bit of video sent his way. The plans are certainly for him to head back out this summer and be here with the Tuatara. Some news on 2021-22 season coming.
Oh, gets underneath that, but might have just got a little bit too underneath it. And the catch is, put down, in fact, in centre field. So a big error, a big mistake, and now the Bayside Wolves will capitalise on it. So Duncan Isaacs ends up scoring.
Wow, you don't see that very often. It's a defensive error from North Shore.
You're looking at here the way he gets around his left fielder coming in behind him to cover him up. It's like the wind, just maybe last minute there, just dropped it straight down. He set himself well.
Yeah, that breeze is a lot stronger than we keep talking about. It is very strong. I mean, that ball, I think, on a normal flat day would have had a chance of going out. He's well short of the outfield fence there, long way short, 30 feet short.
And you can see that was the impression Duncan had. He slowed right down, thought he was just going to be walking to the dugout.
Yeah.
Kazuya Yasui is the player in centre field who put that catch down. And now we will see Scott Drinkwater come into bat. There's another run scored by Duncan Isaacs. And this game just starting to get away from North Shore. We are only in the bottom of the second. This time, launches underneath that. And this time, the catch is taken.
And that's the best way. That's the best way if you're that centre fielder. You want the next ball coming to you. You want it to be a regulation play. You make it and you bury what just happened a moment ago. He's a good player. North Shore are a good defensive side. They don't make those sorts of errors very often, and we can move on now.
So as we enter the top of the third, it is the Bayside club leading 3-0. North Shore up to bat.
But I think, as you said earlier, Budgie, this weather will suit the North Shore batters. I mean, we can see there the power of the swing from the Bayside batters, but in this sort of weather, putting it up just, takes the game out of their hands.
That's what we talked about. It's all very well being a power hitter, isn't it? But sometimes it's actually, in a situation like this, it's actually better to be the guy that can play it along the ground, that can get it between the fielders, and not hold up.
I mean, as soon as you put a ball in play on the ground, you're putting pressure on the defence to make that play. They've got to make that out. You put the ball up in the air on wind like this, allowing the player to get round behind and underneath the ball. Okay, it doesn't always go right, as we saw earlier. But as soon as you put the ball in the air, you take a lot of that opportunity away for you to put that pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, look at the two games that we were involved in with the county side. We played the Central City side on Thursday, and those regulation plays, we were making errors, and you made one, and then it's compounded. You try to get a miracle play somewhere to make up for it and compound and make another one. Well, this morning, it is everything perfect.
It is the centre fielder, Kazuya Yasui, who comes in to bat, and Andrew Mark not mucking around.
Very competent hitter.
Mark wasting no time in between pitches, and again, strike called. So immediately we see Yasui behind on the count, 0-2.
And knowing the North Shore batters are very patient, he'll be trying to speed them up a bit, put them off their rhythm.
Just throws plenty of heat, strikes him out. 3 pitches, 3 outs.
Here's what we talked about. No one on first base, drop first strike, play having to be made.
Yep. So 1 up, 1 down. Great economy from Andrew Mark. Like you said, not giving them a chance to be patient, is he? With that just high turnover.
You know, and you'll find that manager Dan Tam might pick up on that and just start to get his batters to slow down a bit in the box, maybe step out, take a breather.
It doesn't get, unfortunately, for North Shore. And it's going to be Vincent. No, back to the top of the order. It'll be Sota Watanabe, of course. Fegan, their pitcher, not batting today. They've got a designated hitter in Jacob Brothers, who we've already seen at bat previously. So Sota Watanabe, top of the order for North Shore. Can they get on a little bit of a run here? Some sort of discussion there between the home plate umpire and Andrew Mark. Home plate umpire today, Warren Van Rooyen.
A very experienced campaigner, Warren Van Rooyen. He's the director of umpires, Baseball New Zealand.
So 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes. This time gets him swinging. 1-1 the count.
I tell you, he will not be influenced one iota by players. He will see it his way, and he will stick to his guns.
Won't stop Andrew Mark. Won't stop Andrew Mark from trying, though.
I think it wouldn't be a game of baseball if he didn't.
So Andrew Mark.
What you need.
This time, nice little change from Andrew Mark too.
He's really just getting a nice little tail away there, maybe using the wind to assist him a bit there.
Interesting that, Bayside obviously using, making the pitch a hit in Pinky. DH and play to start with for North Shore.
Good curveball. Strikes him out. So nice mix of pitches here. Nice change up again from Andrew Mark. Showing all that experience into a batting lineup that are incredibly patient. A young batting lineup. If we have another look at that, 12 o'clock and bang, 6 o'clock by the time it hits that glove. Great pitch.
So again, Leaborn playing very shallow at third. On the grass even.
Taichi Nakau, very
Taichi
confident.
Nakau gets right on that, but will the wind hold it up? It will be. What will it be? A double to left field. And suddenly there will be safe on second. So runner in scoring position. Great piece of batting from Taichi Nakau. It just held up in that breeze, didn't it? We've been talking about it throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon.
You see there as he turned one, he spotted that Fowler had the ball was fumbled slightly out there, and he's aggressive running, great running.
So
Greenwald out at left field, I think, for
Greenwald is it, and Reed Fowler on second.
So Tyrone Bowler looking to drive a run in. Try and just close the gap. Swings at that first pitch, foul ball away. These two will know each other. This is arguably the future of New Zealand baseball too. Tyrone Bowler looking to try and follow in the footsteps of Andrew Mark. And Andrew Mark has sort of said to the rest of New Zealand baseball, look, if I can do it, you can do it. What we saw in the ABL, what we saw with the Tuatara. This time, Bowler just gets underneath that though. Might not have enough weight on it to carry. Is the catch taken? The catch is put down. Now the runner will cross home plate. So North Shore on the board. 3 runs to 1. And Tyrone Bowler anchored on first, is he? Or second base? First base.
Yeah, he didn't take the big turn. Nice piece of hitting from bowler there, driving it to opposite field. It held up. Good movement from Greenwald to try to get there, diving at full strength. You just see the breeze just dives.
Well, that's a great situation there where a lack of timing actually helped him, didn't it? Didn't quite time it right, just got underneath a little bit, but that breeze just causing havoc and therefore being effective. So
he did well actually there, I think, Greenwald, to get up and recover so quickly to keep bowler at first.
And you can see the smarts, very much the smarts of the Bayside fielders coming around behind him to back him up. So even if that ball got through him.
RBI single to Tyrone bowler. And bowler now will steal second, but a foul ball, so he'll have to go back to first. So good pressure now being put on Andrew Mark. Great contest.
The manager with the experience of Dan Tan will be looking to utilise the speed of Tyrone bowler and bring him around and get him into a good scoring position early.
With 2 outs though, that does go against them. Andrew Mark will be aware of it.
Customary pen tucked into the helmet for Dan Tan down at third base coach's box.
Ball called, so 1-1 now the count. So Taylor Simmons is the batter.
Taylor's played for a lot of years, actually started off as a Bayside player back in the early days, and he's been away at Dunedin at university, has come back to play, but he started his career as a catcher. And his dad, Chris, many a times as an executive officer for a lot of our travelling teams.
When does bowler go? Fancy's going at some point.
Going now. No. Also, cannot underestimate the arm of Duncan Isaacs, who's been brought in especially as a catcher today to try and negate the speed of some of the base runners for North Shore. So good strategic play. This time gets under that pop-up fly ball. Should be comfortably taken by the second baseman. And that is the third out. So just a 1 run given up, but they are on the board North Shore as we head to the bottom of the third as Bayside leading 3 runs to 1.
Yeah, we're lucky we've got a special ground announcer along today. He's sitting just alongside from us. He's concentrating on what he's about to say, but James Markham grew up playing baseball in the US, played for the Boston Wolfpack, who took out the WMG 2017 in the 45A division. So nice to have him. Starting to find Kiwi baseballers succeeding all over the place, all around the world. Daniel Lamhunt in Germany these days. Interrupted season with the Bundesliga over there, obviously due to COVID, unfortunately.
One thing this morning I noticed, Mark, when you ended up winning that game against Central City 2 runs to 1 and that bronze medal, you didn't at any point think about using maybe Dale Budge as a runner?
Oh, look, the thought crossed my mind for that fleeting moment.
That was it.
Just a fleeting moment.
It was very fleeting.
You didn't think about putting him as DH at any point?
Oh, look, I would have no problem actually putting the Budgie in there as a DH. We know he can hit the ball. He just doesn't get out there enough to do it.
You didn't think about putting him in right field for his bullet arm?
I couldn't even throw 40 feet at the moment.
We just thought between innings with Rosedale Pudge.
It was really neat being part of, just being part of it. I didn't play any kind of role at all, to be fair, but it was neat to be
Come
there.
on, you got on and you're only a bat.
Mate, you still got the uniform on, Dale.
And yeah, I never got the chance to play for counties growing up. There wasn't counties baseball. I'm from there, passionate about where I'm from, and really neat with what's happening in counties baseball these days, and feel it's a sport that's ready to explode in that region.
Top of the third, Hiromi Sone changes it up with a nice little bunt down that left field line and will get himself on first base. So good strategic play here. Foul ball, is it?
Foul. Just roll foul.
You see the players both running alongside that, waiting for it to run. I think it's just caught the lip there and kicked itself off.
Three.
Just right around.
There
As soon as
it
it
is,
goes across the white line, they can grab it.
Yep.
And if it bounces back, it doesn't. So we do it again.
Outside. So 1-1 the count.
Good to hear Regan Wood joining us, watching from his television set in Wellington. Keeping a close eye on some of the players that find themselves in Tuatara contention. Elliot Johnston watching too from his hotel room in Rotorua. Last day of quarantine, gets out this afternoon. Having done 14 days. Third time he's had to go through quarantine in the last couple of months.
This time, ground ball. There, safe at first. So just another little unforced error from North Shore. We talk about pressure, and that was another example of it. Really, that should have just been basic fundamentals. Let's have a wee look here, Mark Irwin.
Just putting the pressure on. There it is. Ball's on the ground. Aggressive running. Straight away the pressure goes on. The errors. It draws the error.
Tell you what, they're lucky the ball just caromed off the fence there in foul territory. Didn't go into the dugout. One of those mistakes where you're better off just hanging on to the ball rather than trying to throw it away and risk more damage.
So Henry Leaborn.
Talking about young Earls down there in Rotorua, I'm sure Howick Pakuranga would have enjoyed to have him out of managed isolation before the end of this tournament.
Jeez, wouldn't they? One day would have made a world of difference.
Yeah.
Let's try and pitch on the inside.
Good to hear that Elliot's recovered from that forearm injury that's sort of costed most of his season.
Well, it's a measure of a player, isn't it? I mean, it's how you deal with adversity, how you come through it, the mental state, what you're prepared to do on the other side. It's going to happen throughout any sports career. So we have a look at this ground ball down left field, foul ball.
So yeah, end of an era for Howick. They've been a very dominant force in New Zealand baseball for a long time, not making it to the Final Four this time round. Vince Stephanie, one of their long-serving players, calling it quits after this tournament. I'm told Jono Follett's going to step away from playing the game too. Long-serving player, been part of all of the success that club has had at national level for a long time.
Jono, just a real team guy too.
Absolutely, yeah. Like great baseball brain. Can see that he'll follow in his dad's footsteps and become a coach. He'll be terrific at it too. Very calm, measured, great baseball brain.
You are watching the New Zealand Baseball Senior Men's Club Final between the Bayside Wolves and North Shore, two Auckland clubs. And it is Bayside leading 3-1 on the mound. We've got Vincent Fegan for North Shore. Henry Leaborn in the box, in the batter's box for Bayside. It's been an interesting contest.
New uniforms for Bayside this tournament too. Sort of the Chicago White Sox change-up uniform style.
As they did last year with the camo.
Yeah, the camo last year, didn't they?
And
good piece of hitting
on this. Nice hitting. That should bisect both right field and centre field. Enough to probably bring the runner home, is it? They will send the runner home. The throw comes in and he will be comfortable. 4-1 and the runner moves to second. So that is an RBI double for Henry Leaborn.
I think you find, just as he made contact there seemed to be a lull in the wind for a wee bit there that just allowed that ball to be driven hard.
And into the gap, got into the alley out there, deep right centre. And you can see Sone, on his bike from first. Good wheels. And they tack on another one.
Clever running, good turn.
Yeah, he was always going. John Lee adamant from early on.
And you'll see John Lee moving his way down third base there, being able to get good vision on his runner.
Now Eric Greenwald into the batter's box, 4-1. At what point, though, do you start seriously looking at making a bit of a pitching change? And I say that because Vincent Fegan, he really just hasn't looked like he's dominated any part of this game. It's almost like Bayside have got the measure of him.
Someone warming up in the bullpen out the back of the dugout there. The North Shore looks like someone is throwing, so maybe something doing.
It's a high ball, not a lot of velocity on that. The runner's still in scoring position on second.
I know Devin Van Rensburg was likely to be first.
Yeah, I think it's Devin that's warming up. Yeah, Devin's warming up.
Ryota Okamoto as well. So they've definitely got some options, Daniel Tan.
So,
I wonder on a day like today whether Ryota might be the kind of guy that will have some success against this powerful lineup.
Leaborn on second base. And it is Eric Greenwald. That's a good pitch.
It'd be worth the viewing money, I think.
Just so hard to hold up on, isn't he?
Well, there's no outs at the moment, is there? The runner in scoring position. They've already given up a run this inning. I guess the only Thing is, they're coming towards the bottom of their batting order and saying that. Cooper Grant up next. And just ground ball should be a simple safe on first and third.
See again, just good aggressive running, ball into play on the ground, saying to North Shore, you've got to make this play.
So now first and third for Bayside.
You see Bunji Nakau now come out there and put in their first and third defence.
There's Daniel Tan out to have a chat.
Yeah, so runners on the corners, runners on first and third. And Cooper Grant up next, no outs, trailing by 3 runs, 4 runs to 1, and that is his day. So we talked about the possible change, and it has come.
Devin Van Rensburg to take over.
So something needed to change, need to try and shift and change this momentum. This game is just starting to get away from them a little bit. It's you're going to need a lot of luck to beat this very good Bayside team anyway, if you look at the two teams on paper.
Devin brings a lot more velocity than what we've seen from Vinny. And he'll go hard, he'll challenge every batter. You know, these young guys here from North Shore, they really don't care if it's Pinky or, you know, it could be Chris Richards in the box. They just won't care. They'll challenge them.
Got the big Randy Johnson lookalike haircut.
Yeah, I think they've run out of barbers there on the shore.
Tell you what, some of us are jealous of that.
I've got to say, in terms of sports players, in terms of being well groomed, I've got to say ice hockey players and baseball players don't really do themselves a lot of favours.
Let's play for the Yankees. You don't
I mean,
see anyone with
no, the
facial
Yankees,
hair or
you
long
don't.
hair at the Yankees.
Actually, but the ice hockey players are all missing teeth, which you can understand.
Remember Johnny Damon famously having to shave and have his haircut. If you want to wear the pinstripes, you can't have facial hair. You can't.
No, I remember that Johnny Damon when he went from the Boston Red Sox to the Yankees, and there was that great sign in the post. He says, "Looks like Jesus, plays like Mary, and throws like Judas." One of the great lines.
Not bad at all.
Looks like, look like Jesus. Anyway, it was a wonderful little biblical quote, because clearly you don't go from Boston to the Yankees.
You know, Devin knows now. He's been asked, you know, Coach Dan's put the faith in him to come in with the head, having the head in the right place to get what's he got at the moment. Runners on the corners. And in case people don't know, now that there's runners on the corners, even if Devin comes into pitch and the ball gets hit into play off Devin, those runners, they will go against Vinny Fegan. So those runs will go against Vinny.
He's responsible for those. You're only responsible as a pitcher for those that you put on. Cooper Grant.
Well, great moment for the young man to make his mark on this final and really just psychologically just damage North Shore. But here is a chance. So let's have a look at Devin Van Rensburg. He's going to need to settle early. And immediately they decide to bunt, and it's a very good bunt too. Great piece of play again from Bayside. That is just brilliant.
They've got to tag him now.
They did get him out, didn't they?
Oh,
What
he
did the
dropped
umpires
it.
say? What did the umpires say? He reckons he's got him. He reckons he's got him.
I thought at first glance he did have him.
I think he thinks he's got him. Let's have a look.
This has got very messy.
Let's have a wee look here.
Kept tip to Bayside for the smart heads-up idea to bunt.
I think he
I
has
think
him
he's
there,
got
didn't
him.
he? I think he got him there.
He
And then
loses
the
him
ball,
after
and
he
then
gets
the
the
ball
ground,
comes
yeah.
out. Yeah, I think he got him. And look, I think he knows he's got him too.
Effectively on the transfer. Yeah, that's what they'll be asking.
Well, certainly haven't made that call, and Dan Tan's arguing the point with Travis Watson. Travis hasn't gone to ask the thoughts of the other umpires. So to me, this is not going to go North Shore's way unless the other umpires somehow get involved in the discussion. So what happened there is Cooper ran through first base but started to take a turn to second, then got caught in no man's land and tried to get away from it. Now they're going to have that discussion. So this gives the umpiring crew a chance to talk it over, and if someone else saw it differently, they can reverse this decision.
You know, we've got 2 guys out there in that group of 4 that have done plenty of work with the ABL.
Equally too, I think. I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know what the regulations are, but we've got television here. It's a final. Use the TV. Figure it out.
Travis
sort it out.
Watson is the crew chief, first base. Obviously, Warren Van Rooyen, very experienced umpire. He is the umpire's boss here in New Zealand, so they got the right people out there.
Let's have a wee look here at full speed. So we just see him.
So he's tagged. No
Yeah,
question
got
he's
him there.
tagged.
Tagged him.
Then lands, and then the ball comes free.
Correct.
At that point. I feel that should be out.
Me
Though,
too.
having said that, do we have an umpire around? Just give us a rundown on the rules. Warren Van Rooyen is coming back, and what are they saying?
We're having a good chat
No,
to Dan
yeah,
Town. I don't think
safe.
this is going North Shore's way.
Definitely not.
Oh, called him safe.
Yep, called him safe. So I know the umpire has the right to see the ball in the glove. So perhaps that's the point of this, and we're guessing here without the benefit of knowing the rules inside and out, quite like the umpires do.
First thing they always ask when you make those close plays, show me the ball, show me the ball.
So runners in scoring position on second and third, no outs, bottom of the third, Bayside in control. So Reed Fowler batting 9-hole. He is their second baseman. New pitcher in the mound, Devin Van Rensburg. Rensburg again. This is another. Bases will be loaded. So bases are loaded. So Reed Fowler getting the job done too.
I think in fairness to young Tyrone Bowler there coming through behind the third baseman, taking a swipe at that, he sort of took his eyes off that ball for a couple of seconds but managed to still keep it in front.
No, I think Bowler did a good job there to stop it from getting through. No runs scored, everyone holds, but now
top of the order.
Real danger here with no outs and Isaacs and Mark on deck.
See the infield now playing in on this play, looking to take the out at home.
Well, they've got to stay with 5-1. Yeah, it's doable. If it blows out here, if they plate these guys, this can get ugly quick.
Van Rensburg just loses a little bit of control on that pitch. Ball called.
And a catcher with the experience, as young as he is of Bungie, he'll be looking to make that second out. Mind you, with the speed that they've got on the bases at the moment, it's going to be a tough ask.
Bat on ball, but in foul territory. And that'll bring the count to 1-1. So Duncan Isaacs, he's been very much the MVP when it comes to hitting throughout this tournament, batting well and truly in the 700s, which is unheard of in international baseball standards and in Major League Baseball, but he really has been in the zone. Quality player, can pitch, can catch, play in the outfield.
I think the Easter Bunny's just turned up, Mark.
The Easter Bunny in the form of the lovely Greenslade with a bag of Easter eggs.
Dale, you've already had a couple of donuts and a sugary treat earlier, mate. And you don't put two-stroke in the Ferrari, big guy. Into the dirt, and that is a wild pitch. Runner will come home, and they will score. And so suddenly that lead extends out to 6 runs to 1.
Just right now, unfortunately, I think the North Shore boys just need to maybe take a breath, just relax, refocus. There seems to be a bit of panic going on here right now.
It just seems to be getting away from them a little bit. And I mean, they're not used to making defensive errors like we've seen today, but that's pressure.
I'll get you just talk too about the mercy rule. We are set for 9 innings, but this could end up finishing at 7.
In a 9 innings game, it'd normally be 15 after 5, 10 after 7. That's the lead of runs. And that's when the home team, and their at bat, goes ahead by either the 15 or the 10 runs. I would be very surprised. I think North Shore will have a wee bit more fight in them. I'd be very surprised if it does blow out. I mean, it says 7-1 now, but we're still early in the game. This is the 3rd innings.
Well, Duncan Isaacs walked, which brought another runner home, so 7 runs to 1. Andrew Mark now. That is an attempted curveball. Just didn't quite get the release point right there from Devin Van Rensburg. The second pitcher being used by North Shore.
This is where it's dangerous. Bases loaded, no outs. Pinky at the plate.
And at the youth tournaments, we talk a lot about
strike called,
pitch counts. Well, even at this men's tournament here, there are a lot of young players, and now there's a pitch count in place for 19 to 22-year-olds under the WBSC's under 23 rule. So here in the regular competition, they're used to, once they're playing in the men's league, they're used to just throwing.
So 2-1 the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. Andrew Mark showing plenty of composure. Bases are loaded. 7 runs to 1. And again launches this one. And that will drive certainly 1 run in. And another error there in centre field, is it? Or right field? Right field. So 1 run comes home.
I think manager John Lee just missed picking up on that misfield. He would have turned foul or otherwise and headed them home.
Yeah, Fowler's got good wheels on him.
Yep.
So an opportunity goes begging for Bayside to tack on an extra run there, but 1 run scores courtesy of Andrew Mark yet again delivering.
Yeah, Taylor Simmons with a little error there in left field.
Yeah, this is starting to get ugly for North Shore now. It's fair to say.
Well, we talked about that mercy rule. It's 8 runs to 1. The difference here was 7. And now Matt Thomas. Let's look at that first pitch. Van Rensburg goes straight down Broadway. Strike his call.
Just playing the outside corner of that plate. That was a great place to paint that pitch.
Gets some swinging again. So we see Thomas behind on the count. 0-2.
I think this is Thomas's first bat against Van Rensburg, so he wouldn't have seen the extra velocity as yet.
Free swing. Got a good stance, hasn't he? It's high. Ball call.
Guys that have played at his level, it doesn't take them long at their bat to sort of pick up on the velocity change, track a couple through to the catcher.
Bases loaded, no outs. 8 runs to 1. This time outside, ball called. So 2-2 now the count. Gets some swinging. And that is the first out of this inning. So good comeback from Van Rensburg. But it doesn't get any easier because Scott Drinkwater is the next up to bat for the Bayside club. We've already talked about his pedigree.
We have seen throughout this tournament, even though we have some stunning batters, you know, we have the pitchers that do have that lights-out velocity in that location certainly get results.
Yeah, we saw a great performance this morning from Taylor Irwin. Lead counties to bronze medal.
Yeah, I was talking to him. He thinks he gets his talent from his mum.
I have to agree. I've got to go home later.
Taylor, another one that, very much in the frame, you'd think Tuatara-wise. Young player, still in his teens. Big future ahead of him.
Yeah, no, good head on the shoulder this morning. Very impressed, actually. Got himself a little bit of difficulty there at points, but didn't panic too much. Didn't get too frustrated. Worked his way out of it.
Yes, he gave us a good sort of 6 innings there, allowing us to sort of take a bit of pressure off the arm of Randy Yard and bring him in to close that final innings.
Van Rensburg wondering why maybe the strike wasn't given then.
You'd be told because he didn't throw it through the strike zone.
He launches that one. Pop up. Fly ball down the right field line into foul territory. I'll come back and do it all again.
That sort of trajectory on that one was heading straight out towards sort of right field, and the wind just took that well out of play. So still a big factor up in the air there.
It's howling, that's for sure. So we roll out of these tournaments into the Under-13 National Championships at Nelson, starting Wednesday.
I believe they're looking forward to some lovely fine weather down there too.
Beautiful part of the country. Really unfortunate they thoroughly organised, do a really good job down there, the Nelson Heat, and had their tournament ready to roll this time last year, and of course COVID came along and the event was cancelled.
And totally hats off to Baseball New Zealand for allowing them to sort of put that together again this year.
Well, Drinkwater, drive up through the middle of the park, another error, another runner will score.
Be a very close play here.
And Andrew Mark now looking to try and come home and really just take this game completely out of the hands of North Shore. With 11 runs to 1, and if it stays at this score, the mercy rule will come out in the bottom of the 7th. So just pressure, and North Shore just starting to fall apart. What does Dan Tan do here? What can he do to try and somehow shift the momentum of this game? Because it's just been error after error from players who would normally make some of these things look easy. Classic example of it.
So we've got a bobble there from the centre fielder, then the throw gets by the third baseman here.
Manager Dan Tan now heading out to have a chat to Devon, but having worked with Dan on so many occasions in some pretty high pressure situations, he won't let this phase him right now. He'll be the voice of calm, the voice of reason for these young men.
So what do we see? Ryota Okamoto, the experienced Japanese player, come in.
Yeah, Dan Tan is almost the best manager you could have in a situation like this, because he is just so measured. Nothing really bothers him, nothing flusters him. Look at him, he doesn't appear to have any different body language. If his side was up 11-1, you wouldn't know the difference. So He'll just talk to his players and try and calm them down. They're going to have to chip away at this. You know, it's a long way back. There's no question it's a long way back, but put on a rally, put some runners on, get some runners on base, drive them in, see if you can get a rally going.
So Bunji Nikau just having a chat to Ryota Okamoto, who has pitched for the Tuatara. There is no velocity here. He's almost like, if I was to use cricket analogies, he's almost a bit of a Shane Warne, isn't he? And it's sort of, it's probably the best way of describing it. He relies a lot on trajectory, the angle of his pitches.
As a batter, having faced Ryota over the years, he certainly does bring a mystery ball to the process.
Yeah, unorthodox but very effective. He's enjoyable to watch because you're just not quite sure what you're going to get. It doesn't come off the bat that quickly, and so sometimes for the more experienced hitters, they just get the timing. They just don't ever seem to quite get the timing right with this guy.
It's that box of chocolates mentality, isn't it, with Ryota? And he just has such a natural flow. He doesn't change his mechanics, his arm action, even the disconnection from the top. Just everything comes out the same way. And you've just got to...
I like this, that North Shore are just getting together as a group out there and having a little bit of a chat about things, obviously not going according to plan, and some uncharacteristic errors crept into the game in this particular match. And
well, they're going to have to rely heavily on their hitters and batters, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's really where this game, if they've got any chance in it, and it's only a slim chance, let's be realistic about it when you go through the batting lineup and the experience of this Bayside club, then it's going to require somewhat of a miracle very shortly from North Shore if they have any chance of winning this national title.
So I just had a very quick word to Warren Van Rooyen just to try and get an explanation about that situation out at first base. So you have to maintain possession throughout the tag to make the tag, and the ruling was that Travis Watson believed the ball came free while he was trying to make the tag. We saw it spilled out, obviously, that we've got a different view to what Travis has there. He's looking from a different angle. So he saw the ball dislodged. Therefore, the tag hasn't been applied appropriately, and that's why it was called not out. So no tag ever applied while in possession of the ball.
Okay, they're the umpires. So
he had the perfect view of it, to be fair.
So Hiromi Son trying to bring another runner home. So runner in scoring position on second, no outs. Just the one out. Outside. So Okamoto is going to need to settle in early.
Catcher Bunji Nikau just asking if a swing was drawn. What's on there? Mike Smith, third base umpire, saying no. But straight away you can see the movement.
Yep.
That Ryota brings.
Oh, no, he's unorthodox, isn't he? But very, very effective. You know, he's got zero heat in his game, and he relies very much on ball movement. Very hard for the batters to get their timing with him.
But I think the difference there, all of a sudden he throws that one a wee bit harder that just comes out of the blue, and he does have some good velo when he lets it go. Can really catch a batter off guard.
He almost uses it for surprise, doesn't he, the fastball?
Doesn't throw many of them, but when they do it...
It's time into the dirt.
Umpire Mike, what's the check there on second base? It's called a balk on Ryota. I think Ryota looks a wee bit surprised, just questioning where he's gone wrong.
So I guess you get to explain that, Mark, for our non-baseball fans.
Oh, how many ways can we explain a balk? But basically, once the pitcher has his foot on the rubber, 1 foot on the rubber, he must go through a correct pick-off move, or he must not sort of move the head, double movement, break and step away. There's a lot of different ways it can be deemed as a balk, and most of the cases from the stride is normally not coming to a stop.
And so what's the punishment?
The batters move. It's only call a walk when there's runners on base and the runner moves up a base. But pretty much I'd say on that one is maybe not coming to set correctly.
Set, I think, yeah.
So, runner now on third base. Moto this time gets the strike, so it just paints the outside corner of the plate. So 3.
I tell you what,
balls,
Vukcevic
2 strikes.
wouldn't have got much of an argument back from Ryota.
No.
Ryota might be the nicest man on the planet.
Pretty much like Dan Tan, isn't it?
When things aren't going your way, though, things aren't going your way, are they? They just need a momentum shift here. I'm just not sure they can find it, though.
I think Ryota's smart enough to know that the last thing he needs out there is to have his head in an argument.
Interesting pitch. That boy must have been close to being called a strike, but the catcher sitting nearly reasonably far behind the plate. Came in very high, but boy dropped low quickly. Foul ball away.
Maybe a smart umpire would watch for Ryota. If you look at his face, you can sort of tell yourself he knows when he's missed, and he sort of gives it away a wee bit.
This time puts a little bit more heat on that, but it is high outside. Another runner on base, and suddenly runners on the corner again. Just the one out, and really North Shore just struggling to get out of this massive hole.
So first and third again here, North Shore. Call of what to do coming from Dan Tan in the dugout. Relayed by Mungie Nakal.
So Henry Leaborn.
You normally find as a manager we like to give the call for the catcher for the first and third defence from the dugout.
So Henry Leaborn is the batter up.
I know we're talking about a gold medal match in the National Championships here, Mark, but at what point do Bayside not be as aggressive on the base pass? They look at stealing given you've got a 10-run lead, or do you say, hey, this is the Nationals, there's no quarter given?
Oh, I think you say, this is the Nationals, no quarter given. I think you go out there and you do your best and you just send a message. This is what this club stands for.
Oh, it certainly does, but I also think there's enough baseball protocol and purists amongst these players to sort of play by the rules. I think you'll find soon enough it might turn into just a pass ball and the hit.
Yeah.
And then it might just get to the stage. There'll be no looking to put the short ball down now. You probably find manager John Lee should just go out there and swing the bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes. So Leaborn showing plenty of patience.
There are certainly unwritten rules in baseball, that is for sure.
They sort of have some unwritten names for them too, like Bush League Baseball and things like that come into play.
As we say, the runner goes. So there you go. What do we know?
But also with all the runs coming in, you're sometimes unaware as a manager out on third base if things have gone really quickly of exactly where the score's at. And Coach Lee might not be quite aware of where they're sitting right now.
Bringing all the expert comments. Today we've got Mark Irwin, manager and coach of the county side. We've got Dale Budge, who's played plenty of baseball over the years, bringing you all the expert comments. Hope you are enjoying this final of the New Zealand Baseball Senior Men's Final between the two Auckland clubs, North Shore and Bayside. Bayside, really, it's a one-way demolition at the moment. Third pitching change for North Shore on the mound, and Ryota Okamoto, member of the Auckland Tuatara in 2020-2021. That pitch just getting away from him. And now full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners on second and third, both in scoring position. And that big line drive down that left field. This time better fielding, but the runner will come home and score. And so another run scored.
Another 2 runs in there.
2 runs scored, so 13 runs to 1. And that mercy rule looking more and more likely at this point.
Nice piece of hitting from Leaborn. Beautifully, just waited back for it. Didn't try to overhit it, just put the ball in play. Dropped it in. And nice piece of hitting. So 15 after 5, mercy rule. 15 runs after 5 innings. Or 10 after 7. That's got to be the deficit if the mercy rule is to take effect.
That's tight. Catch is taken. And so the first out of the inning, Greenwald.
I think that might be the second now. I think they might have 2 outs.
So
And you see there, Leaborn went halfway as we asked him to do, so he had to come back, tag up at first base. No chance of moving through to second off that play.
So Cooper Grant now, the young man with a big future, looking to try and maybe enforce that mercy rule after 5 with a 15-run deficit. Runner on first. He gets a good piece on that too, but that is a foul ball into territory, so they'll come back and do it all again.
It's where the benefit of a lot of this movement comes into play with these batters, the pop-ups and the ground balls. That's what they're looking for now. Taxi.
Yeah, this is a little unfortunate for North Shore. I think they're better than what we've seen today. If you're watching for the first time, usually defensively they are very good. They've been a long way from their best this afternoon. Not easy conditions, and certainly put under pressure by very good Bayside.
You can see the breeze there in the background. It certainly is up.
And the score won't say this right now, but only being in now the bottom of the third innings, and as Dale, you said earlier, this sort of weather should suit the batting side, the offensive side for North Shore. So, you know, who's to say? A couple of good innings, get themselves right back into this game. Yeah, rally up.
They can get to Andrew Mark and then force a pitching change. You know, Duncan Isaacs isn't perhaps on his game or whatever. There's hope, but at this point it's been one-way traffic.
Yeah, well, Leaborn has moved to second, so another runner in scoring position. And the 2 outs.
Not a lot of interest in holding Leaborn on there at second.
So Cooper Grant, this time, straight to Okamoto. He will use all of his experience, and that finally they do get that third out. And it is Bayside, after 3 innings, lead by 11 runs to 1. Well, Mark Irwin, yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it, really?
Oh, look,
Not sure what you can do at this point.
It's not going to be an easy hill to climb, but I think that sort of the maturity and the fight in these young fellas from North Shore, you won't see them give up just yet. I think right now they probably need to bring 2 or 3 runs across, give themselves like they've got a chance maybe the next couple of innings.
Yep, 13 runs to 1, and Andrew Mark, I guess he's had a little decent, due to the length and nature of that previous inning. He has had plenty of chance to have a bit of a break, bit of a rest the shoulder. Somewhat of a surprise when we saw his name as the starting pitcher for this final today. Most people remember Andrew as an outfielder and a hitter for the Tuatara, but he did start his career as a pitcher and pitched for the Brisbane Bandits back in the ABL some years back.
And also here at Howard Pakuranga, I mean, most of the people that know Pinky from around the traps are used to him being a pitcher. It wasn't until he got back from the Bandits and then put himself up again for the Tuatara that he moved into a fielding role.
So Duncan Isaacs too, the catcher.
So, folks, I think we've been putting you wrong with the mercy rule. Those are the traditional rules, mercy rule wise. But this tournament, because all games barring the final are played to 7 innings, the manual says 15 runs after 4, 10 after 5.
Oh,
so North Shore can end this. Bayside can end this if they were to score 3 runs in their next half inning.
Well, that'll certainly put a mental game change into Coach Dan Tan's mind straight away.
Yep, and 1 up, 1 down immediately. Rioma Fuse just pops that up, and catch comfortably taken in the finish by the first base, Matt Thomas.
So just had a very quick look at the operations manual, and that's what it says. It doesn't stipulate whether a 7 or 9 inning game, because I assume everything is played to a 7 inning competition.
Yeah, we got surprised this morning. I thought they might have used the bronze for a 9.
Yeah.
But,
so Bunji Nakau is the next batter up for North Shore. Andrew Mark on the mound. Nakau really didn't get anything going now if they're going to make any sort of rally, even just to avoid the mercy rule. Then it needs to happen now. Mark, though, still showing that he's got plenty left in that arm. This time, though, fast ball low, ball called.
He'll also bring a bit of chatter and a bit of stare to the batters. It's the way Pinky's made up.
Yeah, just paints that outside corner, strike called. Ground ball down that right field line, and nice little piece of play from Andrew Mark. 2 up, 2 down.
There's a little bit of 10 years ago.
Yeah, still got it. Still got it. Probably in better shape, to be fair. He's in better shape now than he was then.
Certainly is.
Yeah, nice play. Good baseball.
Lovely play.
Which brings in the designated hitter. We have another look at Bunji Nakau. Big future, this young man. Quality baseball player. Key member of the North Shore under-19 team that won the national championships, and now the designated hitter, Jacob Brothers. And Brothers has a look at that first pitch into the dirt. Ball called. Great work from Isaacs. And the catching role today for Bayside.
So, Mark, a question for you, given that you obviously are in this space. Pretty competitive roster that Bayside have put together, a very dominant roster. Given the strength of baseball in the country now, is it time to consider a regional nationals as opposed to a club nationals?
I certainly can see that in the future. I think that would be, a really good thing to have, and have everyone fight maybe as they do with a lot of other codes. If you get an Auckland team, put a second team as a development team, even a youth team, 2 or 3 teams from an Auckland perspective. But yeah, the strength has really been in this Bayside roster.
And that is the third out of the inning, so 3 up, 3 down. Great economy from Andrew Mark. And as we now head to the bottom of the fourth, it is Bayside still leading 13 runs to 1.
So effectively we're only 3 more
three
outs.
score here. She's all over.
Yeah. We're only 3 outs from possibly the end of the game. I'm wondering if some of the crowd, I see some of the players from the earlier games that have left the park, they've all started to head back in now. They might have been picking this up live and thinking time to head back to the park.
Certainly getting that way. Unfortunate for North Shore. I feel that they probably deserved a better performance in the final, but it's time for them to try and turn things around. See another pitching change?
Some people would say they've won enough silverware, but there you go.
Let's just bring some clarity. So let's assume that Bayside score 3 more runs here. Do we still play the 5th, though?
No, according to those rules, 3 runs here, that's it. That's all she wrote. So if Bayside can tack on 3, make it a 16-1 ball game.
You'll find at that point the scorers will acknowledge Warren Van Rooyen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that they've brought in Taichi Nakau here, that says to me that they have waved the white flag. This is a chance to give a young guy some experience here, because he was a key member of that under-19 team for the North Shore.
I can assure you, Mark, this guy here has pitched shutout games in China. They're bringing in experience now. He's a very experienced, accomplished young pitcher.
He's very good
young at age, but yeah, good experience.
No, I liked him at that under-19 tournament. I thought his mechanics were good. I thought, boy, we've got some real promise, got some real, good pitching depth in terms of the youngsters coming through, haven't we? But surprised, though, that they have taken Ryota Okamoto out?
Not really.
I'm a little surprised in the sense that we've got a number of innings still. We're only 3 innings through this ball game. If they are to fight back, they don't have a whole lot left now. But I guess you kind of roll whatever dice you've got left, you roll, don't you?
That's it. I mean, if you don't give yourself, you don't want to be left wanting. You don't want to be left asking that question. I mean, unfortunately, as a coach or a manager, there are those times where you just know that it might be all over, but you can't be seen to give up. You can't let the team give up. You've just got to keep fighting the battle.
Absolutely. So 9-1-2. Hitters due up for Bayside. Reed Fowler in.
So basically in the 9-hole, straight to the back, top of the order.
And then Isaacs on deck. Mark in the hole.
And Fowler, he's got himself on base twice already in this final.
I think it's Duncan and
don't
Holland.
underestimate him. And the first pitch is a strike, so good start.
Guess it's that time of the tournament where you start thinking about
Foul ball down the left field line.
MVPs, batter of the tournament, pitcher of the tournament. Thoughts?
Well, you'd have to go Duncan Isaacs, wouldn't you?
Oh, certainly for the hitter of the tournament. I think Duncan's stats would be right up there. And this is a tournament where, of course, you're working off a lot of stats. With the pitching, again, it's come down to during the week. Some guys don't get a lot of work because of their age. And they've got to step up and make what do with the games they're in.
Who'd be in the debate?
Oh, I think you'd certainly have probably Randy Yard.
2 complete games.
Dominic Elliott, a complete game. They're 2 of the county's boys. Then you've got the likes of even Cooper Grant, pitched well earlier for Bayside. That's a real tough one. You got the Bears, a lot of the guys that, sort of haven't made the top 4, still had some stunning outings with their pitches.
So 1 out.
Yep, 1 out.
Duncan Isaacs, can he
top of the order?
Add something more to that line of stats that are backing up his argument for MVP? Or
well, a good master of the game, Vince. We talked about him earlier, Vince Stephanie. He pitched 7 innings against us. Him and Randy going head-to-head in that game.
Tina Cow just really hasn't quite got that radar going, well and truly outside. And now he finds himself behind on the count. 3 balls, no strikes, and a chance here once again for Duncan Isaacs to get himself on base. Andrew Mark up next, then followed by Matt Thomas. 3 runs away from bringing this game to a close based on the mercy rule.
4-pitch walk as Isaacs gets aboard.
But I'd say Coach Lee's probably given these guys, even on a sort of 3-0 count, the opportunity to swing the bat at anything in their wheelhouse. I don't think they'll be holding too much back right now.
So Andrew Mark. And Isaacs goes and Mark gets plenty on that. He hits it high. It is long. Will the catch be taken or will it sit up? Another difficult one. This time it is taken. And Isaacs will be forced to go back to first base. So better play from North Shore. This time we've seen a number of errors coming from Kazuya Yasui in centre field, but this time much more composed. Wynn just held that up from Andrew Mark. Catch taken, 2 outs, runner on first.
I think the confidence, skill and speed of Duncan come into play there. He was just about all the way at 2. He trusted the speed to get back if he was caught. But also a tough ask for young Tai Chi to come in because he didn't get much of a chance to warm up. It was 3 pretty quick outs for the North Shore at bat. So for a young guy to try and warm up his arm.
Absolutely. He's done all right. 2 outs here against quality opposition. Can he get 1 more? Keep his side in this contest.
Oh, good pitch. Strike called. 2-0. Finds himself, in fact, 1-1 was the count. My apologies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Into the dirt, and this time Isaacs will look to pick off and take second, and he does. Another fumble. Opportunity to get him at second.
You look at the way that Duncan actually runs and then goes into the base. He gives himself every opportunity to get up on an error made and take off again. That's a smart base runner is Duncan Isaacs.
Matt Thomas, ground ball up to shortstop. Great play there from bowler, and we'll get the runner at first, and they do get the 3 outs, so that is better from North Shore. As we head to the top of the 5th, it is 13 runs to 1 in favour of the Bayside Wolves over North Shore.
Well, that's what the doctor ordered from North Shore. They needed their 3 outs. A 0 on the scoreboard.
But right now it's only going to give them the benefit of 1 more innings if they can't do something now.
That's true. So they've got to. They need to score some runs. So what are we?
That 10-run rule will come into play at the bottom of the next one.
Yeah. So they need to score twice at least. 3 times.
I mean, you can see here on screen, you know, there's no real urgency there from Coach Dan Town. It'll be just a calming, come on, boys, let's see what we can do. Very composed.
Tyrone Bowler there with the unusual looking haircut. Take you back to your youthful days, Dale Budge.
I don't think so.
How would you describe that haircut? Like sort of almost like a dreadlocked mullet.
Try from appearance perspective.
I operated with the short haircut. Got out of the shower and shook it, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. My mother always believed in the size 3 Tupperware bowl. Pair of scissors.
I had dreadlocks once, years ago. Youthful exuberance.
Dear, oh dear.
Would you believe me if I said I made them look good?
The white Bob
I'm
Marley.
thinking of a cross between Vanilla Ice and Milli Vanilli.
I was thinking sort of more of a cross between Bob Marley and Eminem, to be fair. I think I was a little bit more hip, mate.
Oh dear.
Chance here for Denon to try and get something going in this inning. And he has a swing at the first pitch, and that kid should be comfortably taken in the outfield. I say should because we have seen a number of fielding errors from teams today due to the wind and the breeze out there, but 1 up, 1 down. And it continues the great economy for Andrew Mark on the mound for the Bayside Wolves.
I just love
experience
his
of
first
Scott.
name, Aramis.
Yeah.
That'll make my
Kazuya
day.
Yasui. Mark, this time goes wide of the plate.
I mean, the problem is Pinky's going to feel like he can go another 10 years if he does a shutout here.
Yeah, we'll never hear the end of this.
No.
Complete game shutout in the final.
Steer clear of the field house for the next 7 months.
Not a shutout, but complete game at least, excuse me.
Oh, gets him swinging. Good ground ball. Should see the runner safe on first, and it does. So, North Shore.
Good baseball there, good pitch, good hit, and great work by Cooper Grant at shortstop, and even for Matt Thomas to come off the base and get that ball.
I've been impressed with Matt Thomas at first base. I think he does a lot of things right. First time really seeing him in the flesh. Yeah, you got to tip your cap to Andrew Mark, what he's been able to do. You know, he's the heart and soul of it. John Lee, the manager, but Andrew puts the roster together essentially, all the planning, strategy.
So Soto Watanabe back at the top of the order for North Shore.
It's in between fantasy.
I wonder how much time he really actually, how much work gets done at the field house, to be honest.
Duncan will tell you how much he does. Pinky very much a family man as well.
Absolutely,
A
yeah.
lot of time with those great kids of his.
Yeah, Anna and the kids down here watching.
Yeah.
And that is just a little bit of a pop-up foul ball.
Great thing, the Mark family, they're always at the grounds,
Absolutely.
always supported them right throughout the years, the whole family. Mum, Dad, the sisters, Anna, the wife, the kids.
Swapped the Howard uniform for the Bayside ones a few years back. It has to be said here, ground ball double play, and that'll be the ball game.
Yes.
Snuck up on us quick.
Kazuya Yasui looking to try and steal second. Andrew Mark on the mound. Foul ball away.
Just noticed all of a sudden a wee bit more aggression from these North Shore batters, and I think they have to right now. It's all about getting the ball in play and trying to put some runs on the board.
So 1 and 2 to count.
Throws plenty of that, gets him swinging too, and strikes him out. So 2 outs, runner still on first. Andrew Mark, shown all the class, shown all the experience. Do check out the field house too if you do want to get into the batting cages. Out here at Howick Pakuranga,
Good fun.
Cascades Road.
So down to their last out at this point, North Shore.
And it is Taichi Nikau who's on the mound at the moment pitching for them. Trying to see if he can at least advance the runner from first to second. And that is Kazuya Yasui. Centre fielder for North Shore. And Ground ball down the left field line, a little bit of an error, and runners now on first and second for North Shore, so just starting to get a little bit of a rally going here.
That ball was hit hard down the third baseline, and I think it's just caught where the lip meets the dirt, the grass there, and Leaborn's just lost control of that.
Yeah, just got him, didn't he? Went to that right, and then suddenly just bounced back on his left-hand side, just couldn't quite pivot. Tough game, sport of baseball.
The local hops.
Well, this isn't quite in the script. I mean, North Shore can storm back into it from here.
Well, if they were to win this, where would you rank it in terms of the greatest upsets in the history of sport? Liverpool coming back from 3-0 down against AC Milan. Let's talk about the America's Cup coming back down from 8-1, winning 9-8.
Red Sox coming back from 3-0 down in the ALCS a few years ago.
Yes.
Wouldn't help Andrew Mark, would you? It wouldn't be good for Andrew Mark. Andrew Mark would become like the Dean Barker of baseball.
Let's not start.
Ouch.
So now base open. Runners second and third.
Yep, runners on the corner. 2 outs though.
Bowler is the run that counts, really.
Tyrone Bowler, what can he do? Has a big swing, Andrew Mark says. See if he can handle this.
But I think Pinky too has the experience and ability to say to this batter, right, I know what you need to do. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to make you work for it.
He's down to his last strike now, 1 and 2. And North Shore need this ball to be put in play, really.
And does get bat on ball. And nice little 6-3 plate, gets the out. And that is the end of the inning. And great from Bayside. They lead 13 runs to 1. And maybe just that one more opportunity for North Shore. So the mercy rule will come into play.
Well, I take it that should be the ball game, to tell you the truth.
I would be thinking the same based on what you said. I think...
well, let's just have a look, though. Fielder's going out. Not sure if anyone really quite knows. So just waiting for a little bit of clarity on that. Well, it's still game on at the moment.
Because the mercy rules we did talk about earlier were, as Dale Budge said, the traditional mercy rule.
But because we've been playing 7 inning, therefore there is an adjustment, isn't there? So 7 inning would become 5.
In some ways, I'd like to think the adjustment might work the other way too, back to the regular for the 9 innings game, but we're just trying to clarify whether that's the case now.
Taichi Nikau going back through his warm-up protocols on the mound.
Someone probably...
Bottom of the 5th.
So just checking with the scorers, there is a provision in the rules that state the final must be a 5-inning ball game. At least 5 innings must be completed. So while the mercy rules are in place, 3 more outs. Bayside here will complete a 5-inning game, and therefore mercy will kick in.
Okay, even though they're the only team that can really continue to extend their lead. They can't lose it from here.
That's my take on it.
Okay, so normally in a situation you might not often have the bottom of an inning, but we will complete the bottom of 5. And then we understand, don't quote us on it, but we understand then this final will be officially over. But Bayside wanting to continue the momentum here and get a runner on base.
See, what I don't understand is if they plate 3 here. Anyways.
But, you know, we're coming to the end of what's been a very long season, so these boys are showing no signs of giving up right now. They still want to play.
Stats to add. Push their case for honours, individual honours.
Yeah.
Always feels nice to say you got a few hits in the national championships.
Hiromi Sone is the batter up.
And I think a few of them probably know we're all expecting some sort of good news out of the Tuatara for the season. So,
well, the Tuatara will be playing this season, I can guarantee you that. There will be baseball in Auckland.
You're all aware that probably Regan, with a nice glass of water, sitting at home in Wellington watching this game.
Just keeping a close eye on Otani, I think, playing for the Angels. Apparently hit a home run today. I got a message about that about a quarter of an hour ago.
That'll please him.
Good to see some of the Tuatara alumni getting opportunities in spring training too. Johnny Homza, Nick Tanalu.
Straight down Broadway that
Johnny
time.
Hernandez also with the Texas Rangers.
It's Chris, isn't it? Chris Woodward.
Yeah, with Chris Woodward, absolutely, yeah. Josh Morgan got a couple of at-bats for Mariners.
Chris Woodward, a very big friend of New Zealand baseball.
Outside
Now
get
work
the
with
walk.
some of our national programs.
So runners now suddenly move to first and second. And Bayside showing no signs of wanting to let up here, wanting to just absolutely demolish North Shore, because maybe 12 months later will be a repeat. And they just send a little psychological message, give them 12 months to try and get over it.
It makes me actually think, are they aware of the provision or what's happening, or aware of the rule? Maybe they're thinking along the lines of the traditional mercy rule.
May well be. May well be. Yep.
So Henry Laybourne is the batter up. He's had a very, very good final as well. Scott Son there looking on first base.
Fancy a lot of these rules only become relevant when they become relevant, and you think about them and how that impacts.
Yeah.
Generally,
Well,
you
no
don't pick
different
up
to
on
that World Cup cricket
World
final,
Cup,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Cricket World Cup. I mean, everyone goes, what a ridiculous rule, but really, let's have a look at the odds of that actually happening, and therefore you never really think too much about it.
Exactly.
Because you don't think it's ever going to happen. Yes, of course it's ridiculous in the finish, but it's the way it goes. So we've got Laybourne, we've got Drinkwater on second, Son on first, and they lead 13 runs to 1. You are watching New Zealand Baseball's National Club Final. Mark Irwin alongside of me, as well as Dale Budge. Hope you are enjoying the coverage.
I think the thing is, though, as a sport, we have probably the most unwritten rules, the protocols, and the bits and pieces around the game.
Well,
With a lot of the unwritten rules that a lot don't have.
But I think a lot of sports have some of those things. I do a lot in the world of cycling. There's a lot of little things that go on just in regards to, you know, attacking riders at certain times, and when you do things and when you don't do
Protocols.
things, and just sort of established protocols. And, you know, again, the only time they really get challenged is when, you know, you're talking seconds and the bike race is on the line or the game is on the line. Big swing this time. So I've got to say, I do like the look of Taichi Nakao. I think he's a player of real promise, real future. And you talk about, you know, these are sort of the pioneering years of New Zealand baseball, aren't they, with the Tuatara? And are we now starting to sort of see that real first wave of homegrown talent coming through with the expertise that's been brought into this country? Our players, our coaches developing, gaining that further experience.
And look, that's going to be a challenge for the Tuatara to figure out what's the best approach. Do you look to go with a youth policy to say, right, this is going to be a group that we bring through and stick with over the coming years as it becomes more of a New Zealand born and bred team? Or do you look to say, no, that job is Baseball New Zealand, that job is for the players to turn themselves into talent, and it's our job to roster the best players available?
Yeah, I think you bring some of those players into the fringe. I like the idea of having that sort of Auckland development team in the background to play the midweek games against the Tuatara team. But as a fan, you just want the best team on the field. You want the best team winning, don't they?
Great play
Nice
there by
play from
Tyrone
Bowler.
Bowler. Yeah, great play. Again, another young one, but the advantage for Tai Chi, his brother Bunji behind the dish catching for him today, and his dad Tashiki, a very, very well-renowned coach here in the Auckland competition and at national level. So, you know, with Dad pushing the barrow and boys at home being able to work with each other, certainly helps the process.
So nice double play turn by Tyrone Bowler there. So he gets 2. 1 run does score. And Grant now. This could be the final at bat.
As long as both teams understand that, which we're not quite sure, because, again, this is a somewhat...
The way they're both playing, I'm not thinking they probably do. But I see CEO, Chief Executive of Baseball New Zealand, John Follett, standing at the fence waiting to probably make the call to umpire Warren Van Rooyen.
time into the dirt from Taichi Nikau. Cooper Grant, very patient, very relaxed. Great that he's getting so much baseball, just a young man.
I think watching these teams play over this week and being involved and also playing against both of them, no one would have expected the scoreline.
This time, line drive, but foul ball down that left field line.
No, and also not the manner too. Just like I said, I feel North Shore are a much better side than we've seen from them today. I think they're not a team that generally make errors. You look across the tournament, they just don't give away runs like other teams have done.
And in this afternoon's game, when these two played, North Shore went up 3 or 4 runs early, put the pressure back on Bayside.
So another runner in scoring position on third. And Cooper Grant this time gets back to ball. Another little bit of a fumble. They do get him at first, do they? What is the call? Safe at first, is it?
Yeah, and another runner in.
Another runner in, so 15 runs to 1. Another runner on first. Just another little fumble here, and that was the difference. So Son scoring. And Cooper, he'll get himself a hit. Get himself on first base. Runs all the way through. And he's umpiring as well.
If he knows this is the end of the game, still smart, aggressive running, not giving up.
Now Reed Fowler up to bat for Bayside. And Reed Fowler gets plenty on that. Catch should be taken, and it is taken in left field. And that will bring the inning to a close. And is that the game?
I
Let's
think
just
that will be.
confirm it. And Bayside, the national champions, does the mercy rule come into play here?
Just I think Warren Van Rooyen is about to be told by score is 15-1.
Yeah, 15 after 5. First 15 after 5? Yeah. 10 after 7. Because with the 7 inning game, 15 after 10 after 5. So it's there.
So just a discussion going on
Warren
between
Van
John
Rooyen
Follett and...
probably knows the rules better than just about anyone, I would suggest. So we're going to go with the traditional rules, 15 after 5, 10 after 7.
So based on the score right now, 15-1, we'll be going through to the 7th now, unless they get the 15 runs any time from now. So even at the bottom of the 6th, if Bayside happen to put on an extra couple of runs and keep North Shore scoreless, then that mercy rule will come into play in the 6th.
So I hope you are enjoying our live coverage of the New Zealand Baseball Men's Senior Club Final between Bayside and North Shore. It is Bayside leading 15 runs to 1.
And that's where it gets a little bit complicated, doesn't it, these rules? So we've played 7 inning ball games all competition. 9 inning today for the final, 9 innings in the final. And it's just a little bit of confusion in the rules, but I'm going to back Warren Van Rooyen in. He knows them better than anyone. He reads them and probably has a bit of understanding than just about anyone out there.
Well, Andrew Mark's still on the mound, so no changes being made from Bayside, and why would they? And it is...
This is Taylor Simmons leading things off here in the top of the 6th for North Shore.
Pinky seems to be getting better as he goes on.
In this ball game and in general.
We all know he's a competitor.
Gets given the strike, so 2-1 now the count, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Interesting that Bayside haven't really rung any changes here. Haven't given guys opportunities off the bench. Different philosophy. Every club's different. A lot of players involved on the roster.
They haven't done a lot of that during the tournament. There are a lot of the players on their bench, the younger guys that are just there to be around these guys for the experience.
Inside, walks the first batter.
And
so we see Simmons go to first base. And just a little door left open. Just the tiniest of little margins.
Got the feeling he might have been hit by a pitch there. Yes, he was. I think that was clipped his shirt on the way through.
There is the frustration from Mark too. You see him reel back with his head and frustration.
So that now brings Rioma Fuse to the plate.
He's
Another
just
one
starting,
of these right-handed batters.
just starting to bring a bit of extra velocity to these pitches now.
Gets him swinging, great strike. We're fortunate enough to be commentating just behind the catcher. Mark Irwin, Dale Budge standing up. getting a bit of a bird's eye view.
So what? She's a little bit chilly all of a sudden.
Just looking at Pinky now, being directly staring straight out there at him, just the Pinky of old right now. He's got that dedication. He just wants this win.
Goes fast too, not given the strike this time, so high on the inside. So 2-2 the count. Fiona Fuse trying to shift some sort of momentum, but gets struck out. Nice change up there from Andrew Mark.
Fantastic pitch selection there by Mark. Knew he had him sitting back waiting for that fastball and just shut him down.
Buckled him with a curve here, I think.
Bang.
It was bang.
So, Bunji Nikau, catcher, another one of these young talented players, a member of that North Shore side that won the National Under-19 tournament. So, you've got plenty of depth. It might not be this time this year, but you sense it is only a matter of time to North Shore claim this national title at the highest level.
Great jump by Simmons.
And do they get him at second? Let's see what the umpire says. Safe. So, good running from Simmons. Good throw from Isaacs. Done a good job, Isaacs, as a catcher. It's not a regular position for him. Works with Andrew Mark, so a good understanding between the two of them. Another little curveball from Andrew Mark and gets the strike. Nice pitching. Talk about Mark just getting better as the inning goes, as this game goes on. And manages to get some bat on that. Another little error there at shortstop. And so, suddenly runners on the corner first and third. And Cooper Grant
just a wee bit lazy there.
Just a little error.
Yeah, just a little error, a wee bit lazy. Just sort of glove not getting down.
Let's have a look here. Didn't really middle it, did it? Sort of struck low on the bat handle. Cooper Grant coming across here. Yeah, just a little lack of concentration.
You see the difference with the shortstop playing in on the dirt a wee bit to one that plays further back to the back of the dirt, gives themselves a wee bit more range, a wee bit more area to cover and get round behind the ball.
He's had a good tournament, Cooper Grant.
Yeah.
Outside, well and truly outside too. Look, it's not a bad thing though, is it? A guy like Cooper Grant picks up a little bit of a fumble, a little bit of an error in a final. You know, you learn from those things, don't you? You think, hey, I've got to be on the whole time.
Oh, you can see him remonstrate straight away.
I can't afford to switch off at any point. I can't afford to get complacent. I can't have that happen again. If I get a chance with the Tuatara, that can't happen again.
Oh, look, there's enough experience in this team with Drinkwater, Mark, Matt Thomas, Duncan Isaacs, that they won't let him get down on himself too. You know, they'll pick him up as soon as he comes back in.
He acknowledged straight away. My fault. Made a little error. My bad.
I see there in the size difference I talked about with that batter at the plate was Matthew Fegan, the younger brother of Vinnie Fegan.
So a little bit of a rally here from North Shore, probably a little too late, but they do have bases loaded.
It's my boy
Just
Aramis.
the one out, and
Aramis.
it is
Aramis Denon.
Aramis Denon. Certain names you enjoy commentating or mentioning, and clearly Dale Budge has
Tell you, he was one of the Musketeers.
with his name.
Athos, Porthos, Aramis. 3 Musketeers.
So Aramis Denon can put one over the fence. See no one do it in this final. Saw no one do it this morning in the playoff, the third and fourth. But a runner will score. And bases remain loaded with just the one out. So an RBI single for Aramis Denon, which will see Kazuya Yasui now come to the plate as the next batter. As we have another look at this. Picked his line nicely, didn't he? Not a lot of velocity on the hit. Just meant gave time.
Wasn't overly technical either. Sort of almost back foot cover drive from a cricketing standpoint. Looks like kind of cricket swing, to tell you the truth. I know a little bit about that. Good to see. Nice hand-eye.
And moves the score to 15-2, so, it's a start. Got to start somewhere.
Well, bases are loaded. There's an opportunity here for North Shore to extend this ball game.
Can it be this young man? A couple of fielding errors today, which have been costly. Can he find some sort of redemption with the bat?
You were
Andrew
talking
Mark
about...
is going to say, it's not going to happen with me at the mound.
You were talking about Mark looking to see one over the fence. I think there'd be a very happy Regan Wood in this wind to see if anybody here today could put one over this fence.
That's what I was alluding to. It's been pretty blustery and it's not in favour of the hitting team. Foul ball.
See a D8 contract.
0-2 the count. I wonder at what point Andrew Mark, if this gets away from him, does he pull himself out of the game?
I think there'll be more chance of hell freezing now.
With that margin, though, as Dale Budge says.
Young Min will make that call. That won't be an Andrew Mark call, I can assure you.
Strikes him out, so that is the second out of the inning.
I think as much as they both play a part together in the structure of this team, when it comes down to Pinky having to pitch, totally John Lee will be left in charge of making that decision.
Absolutely.
So Soto Watanabe comes back into the batter's box, top of the order for the North Shore side. How did they come up with the name the Bayside Wolves? We don't have wolves in this country.
It's a good question. Very good
Great
question.
question, isn't
They
it?
were Bayside West Haven for a very long time.
The
Well, it
count,
still effectively is, isn't it?
Which I
It's just the
presume still
Wolves.
is
It's like us counties baseball, and we go in as the Colts.
Yeah, Howick Hawks.
Howick Hawks, where it's just Howick Pakuranga baseball. I think they just find themselves a logo.
see, I've ridden my bike a lot out through Pukekohe, a lot out through counties, out through Karaka, and I would have called you guys like counties roadkill. There's an awful lot of roadkill when you ride your bike out through
I'd like
counties.
to take a little bit of responsibility. I think I came up with the name Colts once upon a time. I thought
We
might
called
not have
that
been
takeaways, but anyway.
And that is the third out. That will bring that inning to a close, but North Shore did score the one run. So as we head to the bottom of the sixth, it is Bayside Wolves leading North Shore 15 runs to 2.
So the Colt logo,
Yep.
that was, I think the concept Colts was something that I came up with, I suggested.
Based
Gareth
on what
Hooton.
though, Dale?
So it was going to be based at the Karaka Sports Complex, home of Karaka Yearling Bloodstock
Sales.
Centre.
Yep, nice.
A lot
Nice.
of horse training facility in the area, well known for its horse racing.
Didn't think
So I
of-
just
you
thought,
didn't think sort of gender equality, thinking about calling them the fillies?
possibly, but the kick kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Karaka Colts, Counties Colts.
Yeah, nice.
So that's where that came from, and then Gareth Hooton, I believe, came up with the design for the logo, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
Gareth's
pretty
good,
cool
man.
looking.
I follow him a bit on social media.
You know, Hoots, he's another man that played a big part in some of the early days of what went on around Auckland baseball, West City, and
He did.
yeah. But
There is a lot of roadkill out in counties, though, out in those rural
roadkill, yeah.
areas.
I like the other name sort of appealed was something to do with the racetrack, Pistons and things like that. But that's more of a basketball.
Yeah, out at Pookie there. We got the racetrack out at Pookie.
Could have called yourself Counties Greece.
Bruce Lightning, yeah.
A lot of market gardens out there.
Absolutely, yeah. The county's
Yeah, that
long
could have
keepers
been it.
doesn't quite work, though, does it? It's not exactly.
The Pickers.
It brings tears to your eyes in a totally different way, doesn't it?
What about manure? The county's manure. The manure up next.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's pronounced. No,
Are we starting to get a little bit silly here? Just a
I
little
think
bit,
so.
eh? Just a
Think
little
so.
bit. Anyway, if you've got any thoughts, I'm sure in the column of the YouTube live feed you can put some comments. You might have a few names for counties outside of the Colts.
Pretty well established now, though, isn't it?
heck yes.
Still struggling with the Wolves, though. Is Andrew Mark howls at a full moon?
Probably.
I actually believe
that's
Andrew
prob-
Mark was a big part in
I'd say
the
so.
logo getting brought to the forefront.
Look,
Okay.
good to see that he's managed to give himself more business by creating a few more uniforms. Every year they come out with a new one.
Taichi Nakau on the mound, but top of the order for Bayside. And so let's just go back through the mercy rule here. Will this be the last at bat?
No, so under what we've just been told,
We
they're
have to play
to.
The
7.
next innings. The next
Inning will be, but
if they get 3
if
out,
they score 2 here. You score 2 runs. Bayside score 2 runs, they'll walk it off.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll be going to the 7th inning.
Okay.
looks like they've made a pitching change with Roma Fuse now.
Oh, Rioma Fuse coming in, is it?
Pretty sure that's
just-
out there.
Yeah, Rioma Fuse, number 57.
I'm just looking out the back here too. I think Andrew might be done. So if we were to go to another inning, I see Cooper Grant warming up.
But hang on a minute, Dale. I suggested that he might be done, and you said, well, Helen Free's over first.
I can guarantee you he
No,
would
you
have
said
taken
would he
himself
pull
off.
himself
He
off,
would
yeah.
not pull himself off. It would have been John Lee that's made that call.
Okay, there we go. So Duncan Isaacs has really much been the MVP throughout this tournament. When you look at his batting stats, his on-base percentage incredibly high as well. He gets this time line drive down right field, but it is a foul ball.
Pitchers never like coming off. This morning in the game, my son had pitched 6, Taylor, and first thing he said to me, can I start the next innings? I said, you're the first game next year. You're done. Sometimes you just have to let them know that the time's there.
Yeah, but I mean, look at what you had too in terms of, you know, Randy coming in there to finish it off. A nice closing. Boy, he did the job quickly and efficiently, didn't he?
Yeah, and that was the reason why we tried to take Taylor a bit
Isaacs goes long and foul ball, but got plenty of bat on that. But that wind just playing havoc and just taking that into foul ball territory.
He just hurt himself here, is he? No? Stretching for a moment there. End of a long tournament, I
I
suppose.
think the thing is too, they've been in bat there a couple of innings for some time, and it's quite a breeze out there, quite chilly. Not keeping themselves warm, starting to stiffen up a bit.
And this time, pop-up fly ball, catches taken in left field, 1 up, 1 down. 14 runs to 2, Bayside still leading North Shore.
Shows you how hard he hit that, how true it went in this breeze.
Absolutely.
And it is Andrew Mark now, who is next into bat. The man who came up with the name the Wolves. So what do we make of Rioma Fuse? Clearly a part-time pitcher. He is in this team at second base.
Certainly in the younger grades, when he was there in the 19s, was used more as a sort of starter and a closer. So an accomplished pitcher, but probably at the Premier level here, probably one of those mid-relievers. But right now, I think Coach Dan Tan's just looking to sort of get everybody maybe into the game now, looking at the score. Young Rico in here collecting some more balls. Rico Bowler, younger brother of Tyrone and the bat boy for North Shore today.
Got a similar haircut too. Similar.
So Andrew Mark.
I think I've even seen Sister Mia here today, who was a baseballer herself for a couple of years.
And Mark, line drive down that left field line, and will be out at first. So some good play here from North Shore. Starting to find that sort of momentum, but really coming at the wrong end of the game. And he just feels he's starting to settle down now in this final.
Lovely
Great
play.
baseball, yeah.
Tai Chi Nakao, isn't it?
Tai Chi Nakao at third now, but just the hit to the play, to the throw. Matthew Thomas now.
Ball call just below that strike zone of Van Ruin, the home plate umpire.
Been absolutely consistent today, done a fantastic job.
This time gets some swinging note, so good comeback pitch from Rioma Fuse.
And I think outside the confusion of the earlier play at first with the ball lost, I think across the board with players of this experience, seeing nobody having a go at the umpires, I think that tells you just of the consistency of their game and how they've performed today. Yeah.
While it didn't look it from the angle that we saw, you have to say that Watson was probably in the best position to judge whether that ball was in the glove the whole time or whether it did come out as he tried to make the tag.
So Matt Thomas poised. Rioma Fuse. Thomas. Oh, another just little bobble. Find himself safe on first. So another single for Matt Thomas.
We like to teach the fielders. We have a saying, don't we? Come get the ball. And that's a perfect example of why we asked that to happen. He sat back and waited for that ball. It's taken an extra bounce, hit the hop, and he's ended up missing it. You know, a bit more aggression coming in on that hard. Get to the ball before it kicks off.
It's funny though, isn't it? Sometimes that's counterintuitive. It's the right thing to do, but it's counterintuitive. The natural instinct says, no, I'm going to stand back. It's like people when you paddle through white water, keep paddling, and the natural reaction is to stop paddling. So now Scott Drinkwater with runner on first, then Matt Thomas.
There is just no lack of experience coming through this Bayside lineup.
Just unrelenting.
One to get.
Gets him swinging.
And a bit interesting actually for Matt Thomas when he came home a couple of years ago after being a Bayside boy, when Bayside were in their problems and didn't have a team in the league anymore. Matt went and played a bit for North Shore before moving back to Bayside.
Yeah, Yong Min, John Lee, manager of Bayside today, won a national title with North Shore many years ago.
And Howick, I think.
And Howick, yeah, definitely. He was part of teams that I played in. Dan Tan was part of that same team. So that Howick group from the early to mid-2000s, we see some of them have moved from club to club and influence they've had over the sport.
Like Dan Tan, John Lee, Duncan Isaacs, Scott Drinkwater, Andrew Marks, DeWald now, Nick Coe, Luke Hanson, guys like that. They just all grew up at the park here together.
And that is just a pop-up, and catch should be comfortably taken. It is. Second base there, and that will bring the inning to a close. It is Bayside leading 14 runs to 2. Of course, Dale Budge, part of that Bakaranga side as well over the years, and he's gone on to become a DH, of course, with counties.
I tell you what, the best news of the day has just driven in here. I can see the Sal's pizza boxes arriving. Snacks for the commentators. Gotta love it.
Nothing like good old Sal's pizza.
Mr. Sal's, haven't had it much late.
I'm just looking now, actually, CEO John Follett's come back out with the manual with umpire Warren Van Runen, so possibly re-going over this rule. Right now, probably best thing is to go into the 7th and play on that 10-run rule anyway.
Get the 3 outs here, it doesn't matter anyway.
The 3 outs with Cooper Grant now coming onto the hill.
So Pinky, it's just a straight swap. Pinky goes to shortstop, Cooper Grant to the mound.
Boy, he's got some talent, hasn't he, Cooper Grant?
Absolutely.
Must have been tempting to give Duncan Isaacs the ball, but give Cooper Grant the opportunity.
On cue. Chris Richards with the delivery.
What was that?
Look, so it was mostly delivered all week, but he did score some runs this morning, I suppose.
Can you get yourself, Dale, until you get yourself on the ESPN top 10 plays of the day? You just showed nothing but respect, please, to Chris Richards. You're not seriously having pizza during this commentary right now, are you?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know how good Sal's is. Sal's Pizza, by the way, if you're having a craving, phone Sal's. Proud sponsors of Baseball New Zealand, the Auckland Tuatara. So Taichi Nakau is pitching. Oh, I will carry you. Absolutely. You guys have been brilliant in carrying me most of the day, so more than happy to while you demonstrate with your wonderful physiques that it's a case of athletes ahead of science as you put baseball, as you put some pizza.
They always say I'm in shape, and I agree. You know, round. Last time I looked, round was a shape.
Okay, so Cooper Grant on the mound. Are we 3 outs away from wrapping this national final up for Bayside?
Nice take.
When they said body of a god, Buddha wasn't my first option, but hey, I took it.
Mark Irwin, let's just talk through the mechanics of Cooper Grant. Looks like he's got a bit of velocity.
He has. Cooper has some heat. He'd be looking around sort of low to mid 80s right now. Probably get a bit higher than that. He's done a wee bit of pitching over the years for youth national teams.
And that will be the first of 3 outs. Should be safe. Safe on first. So not quite getting the job done. So North Shore live once again.
I think this is where we differ to the rest of the world with guys like Cooper. We teach our players, they become two-way players.
Yeah, but let's talk about that. Is there a danger here, though, sort of being, trying to be everything to everyone rather than just specialising? I saw it in athletics in the 1990s, runners with a lot of talent but wanting to be good at everything, cross-country, road, 1500 metres, and becoming good across all of them, but not necessarily a specialist in one.
Yes and no. I mean, it can be an advantage or a disadvantage. I mean, there are a lot of schools out there. A lot of these guys, especially Cooper, he's one that we know. He's looking to prize trade offshore and look for a scholarship. A lot of the schools look for a two-way player, depending on the budget they've got to work with. Having someone know that can pitch and move into a position, save them a bit of money.
So Cooper Grant, runner on first. Looking to try and steal second this time. Foul ball, is it? That would have hurt.
Got it off his knee, is he?
So that would have hurt a lot. Tyrone bowler. Let's have another look at this. Oh, just got the knee. Yep, that left knee. Just on that.
I think a lot of these boys will be viewing it. Last game of the season, a very long one, so everything on the line. Let's give it everything.
Go tight! Go tight!
Hold on!
It's hit him.
But where did it hit him, Dale? I thought it hit him on the hand.
Elbow guard, I think.
What is considered the bat in baseball? We know in cricket that comes off the glove, comes off the forearm, it can be given out. What is the ruling in baseball?
As long as it hits the bat, it's got to hit the bat for it to be called a foul ball. If you just get hit by the pitch, you're straight on bag. A foul tip can be caught on the third out. It's the only time.
A little bit of a chance here. Potentially have loaded bases. They will have loaded bases. So North Shore rallying. Runners on first, second and third. No outs.
In their dugouts, certainly producing some energy. There's a bit of life back in the dugout there now. They can feel something coming.
I think that's Jason Greenslade coming in as a pinch runner now, first base. Everyone getting a bit of a run at North Shore.
So Rioma Fuse has just been pitching. There's the next batter up. And he gets bat on ball, and this time the out will come. Oh, terrible throw. Another runner scores. And that will come two. So 2 runners and bases, runners on first and third. So 14-4 now, and runners on the corner. And it's really just
watching here. Greenslade's going to run himself into a rundown. And that is going to be extremely influential in the overall scheme of things. Because that would have been the run that would stop the mercy rule. So what happened there is the ball had gone back to Cooper Grant. Duncan Isaacs was not at the plate. He'd still trying to find his gear from where he raced off after the ball a minute ago. Greenslade saw an opportunity to try and sneak home when no one was looking. But it got caught in the rundown. Talented young player, Jason Greenslade. Good wheels too. Yeah, just maybe not quite the right call on that occasion. So he's been thrown out at third.
So 14-4, runner on first.
You could see him looking. He was looking and looking and looking and thinking, I can sneak home here. And
now Bunji Nikau faces Cooper Grant. 2 young rising stars up against each other.
These two have been teammates and national teams on numerous occasions over the last few years, so know each other very well, know each other's game.
Strike called, paints the outside corner, Cooper Grant. Great experience for him too. Pressure situation. Can he dig himself out of a little bit of a hole here? High fast ball called. Now 3-1 the count.
Just really struggles, not taking a huge step with his front foot and sort of getting caught on his release point. Tends to be hitting a bit high right now.
So pitching out of the stretch rather than the wind up.
And that time must have just been on the inside, because height-wise that looked very much in the zone there of Warren Van Ruin's strike zone from what we've seen throughout the day. Now suddenly runners on first and second, just the one out. Just a little bit of pressure building on the Bayside Wolves. They don't want to get too sort of complacent here. There's plenty of batting in this lineup for North Shore.
And another very promising young player is Matthew Fegan. Been struggling with an injury for a while, but certainly another one that's on the radar for Baseball New Zealand.
This is the kid that can throw left and right, isn't he? Basically an ambidextrous player.
And we look at the size and the build of him compared to his older brother, who started on the mound for North Shore today.
So Duncan Isaac's just coming up to have a chat here to Cooper Grant.
Well, the first movement was just a pat on the shoulder. Probably Duncan just saying, just relax, mate, take a breath.
Keep it simple also too, you know, rely on your outfield if you have to.
For those of us who know Duncan well, he would be pretty straight to the point.
He's always straight to the point.
Yeah, with getting young Cooper to stay calm.
Strike called, good comeback pitch from Cooper Grant. 2 balls, 1 strike. Matthew Fegan at the plate for North Shore. This time, away and low.
This is a big pitch.
3-1 the count now. This could load the bases back up. What does Fegan do here? Technically still has a free swing if he wants it. Inside, will walk, bases are loaded.
And actually see North Shore at the present warming up another pitcher out the back.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because there is a little bit of a rally going on. They've got, you know, 2 runners in scoring position, a runner on first. They've burnt through a number of their pitches. How much depth do they have in their pitching stocks is the question.
Yeah, well, so my boy Aramis up at the plate now. For this to be relevant, they have to score some runs here. That's the other thing. They need another run. Because at the moment,
well, that's outside too.
If they don't tack on another run, that'll be the ball game. But bases are loaded. One swing of this bat could change it. All of a sudden,
But to answer your
14-6, 14-7, all of a sudden you start going,
And to answer your question, Mark, I think they're probably down to their last couple of actual pitching numbers in the bullpen. Then they'll be just looking at positional players who can throw, who can come in and play catch. But the young man warming up out there at the moment is young Noah C. Nui, a pickup player for them from Wellington.
Just getting away from Isaacs. He's been very, very good catching today. So Aramis Denon. Can he become a hero for North Shore? Foul ball away.
Certainly not going to be left asking the question. Nice cut at that.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Good patience. Good eye from Aramis Denon.
I think that one was just missing low.
just missing low, yep. He's going to come back with fast ball here, surely, didn't he? 3-2 count.
Gets him swinging, strikes him out. So 2 outs, 1 out away from wrapping up this national title under the Mercy rule. 10-run lead through 7.
Nice tail on that pitch.
I'm just going to see double check Daniel T and ask him if this is indeed a ball game, if this is an out.
Dan would have been asking how many probably runs he needs to stay in this game.
Yes, yeah. I just heard him say 1, so.
And so 1 out for Bayside to win the game. 1 run from North Shore to extend the game. Immediately.
Again, just a new pitcher needing to find where Warren's zone is.
Outside gets some swinging though. Lazy swing.
Coach Dan Tan's probably given the batter the green light to just try and put this ball in play. Try and get that run across.
So Kazuya Yasui hasn't really been effective with the bat all day. That time Cooper Grant just goes straight down Broadway. And it is 1 ball, 2 strikes. So we are a strike away from this game being wrapped up. So can the Bayside Wolves win another national title? Outside, 2-2 the count, game on.
Duncan Isaac stretching a wee bit there. I'd say sort of this game and the breeze taking its toll, getting a bit stiff.
Tough job catching. Very tough job.
Kazuya, foul ball away. High ball call, full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. What does he do here?
Bring out the big punch out then.
No, look, he's been consistent.
We've
We've talked about height, and he's been very consistent on that. You think almost sort of halfway up the stomach, and he sort of said no. This time does get a ground ball. Will the runner score? The runner will score. It is game on. So 1 will come home. 2 will come home. And it is 14-6, is it? 14-6. And then we go. So the Mercy rule will not come into play at this point. Of course, Bayside can end it in the bottom of the 7th by extending the lead here. But just to have another look at this. Just a nice drive up through centre field. And manages to get home. Good call by Van Ruin, the home plate umpire. And so North Shore staying alive, 14 runs to 6, Dale Budge.
Yeah, just struggling to follow what just happened there. I think we're all expecting the Mercy rule. We've been expecting the Mercy rule to come into play for a while now. And North Shore fought their way back. Listen to the dugout celebrate when that ball got through the infield. They knew that they weren't going to be mercied out. Close play at home.
I'm thinking, unfortunately, there too, with Cooper having a crack at that ball, he's probably again taken the vision from the ball off of the mid-infield on that play, seeing it very late.
Now sticking with Cooper Grant. Wonder at what point do they look at bringing maybe Duncan Isaacs in if they do feel at some point this game is just starting to maybe not slip away, but getting to a point where maybe that is not feeling as comfortable as they were. If you are just joining us, you're watching the National Baseball Club final between the 2 Auckland sides, the Bayside Wolves and North Shore City. And we just want to acknowledge Sal's Pizza. We've had a super large one brought in, and there's barely none left, and I've had none. So Mark Irwin and Dale Budge certainly enjoying their pizza throughout this commentary.
Delicious, thanks. Pepperoni.
Starting to get a little bit cooler too. So back to the top of the order too for North Shore with Watanabe, their lead-off hitter, the table setter. Oh, lazy swing. Pitch he didn't really need to have a look at, but nice change up from Cooper Grant. Just took all the pace off that.
We know you got it, baby. Let's go.
Still runners on the corner. Unlikely for anybody to hit a home run based on the weather conditions here, based on the wind. It's going to need to be done with doubles and triples. That's a bit of a lazy at-bat for Watanabe. I think he's better than that. He's more patient than that normally.
So Bayside get the outs they need. Now they need to go out and score a couple of runs to end this. But boy, North Shore shown some fight. Good to see. Really good to see North Shore put a little bit in here. They could easily have given it away. They could easily have just gone through the motions and accepted a mercy situation, but they've fought, scrapped, done everything they can to avoid it. Giving themselves a chance. We're now heading to the bottom of the 7th. Time for a stretch. Time for a stretch for Mark Watson. Got himself stuck into the pizza. Mark Irwin off for a little break as well. So really getting to the end. This is the last bit of baseball in Auckland for the season. As I said, the United Airlines Baseball New Zealand National Championships move to Nelson for the under-13s starting Wednesday, running through the weekend. Really looking forward to seeing how that tournament goes down in that lovely part of the world. A lot of work's gone into it from the Nelson Heat Club. Great little facility down there. And a really good, well-organised crew. Thoroughly deserved after misfortune of COVID wiping out their chances of hosting last year. We're off to the Little League Series in Hamilton after that as well. So we have got a change on the mound for North Shore. And that is Noah Sianui. He's another one of these players that's come up from Wellington. Tell you what, Wellington, had they been able to put a combined team in from the clubs down there, would have had a rather strong team, I fancy.
Yeah, I had a couple. I had Chris Richards and, of course, Jackson Tardetti from Wellington, both very strong players. Jackson, a real candidate for high school in the US. Manager Dan Tan now just coming into the scorer's box, possibly looking to make the changes. We're getting pretty close to the bottom of his lineup now.
Just wondering at what point Dan puts himself in. You thought about it, didn't you?
There'd be no harm done. I did. I put myself on the roster for 2 or 3 games during this tournament.
So, wild first up pitch from Noah Sianui, wearing number 79. Sone at the plate for Bayside. Better pitch, but that's not the zone from Warren Van Ruin, the home plate umpire. Just a young man out of Wellington, as mentioned. The pitcher, Noah Sianui. Can he do now? Goes high again, ball called. He's going to need to adjust it. No, he'll be walking batter after batter. Big ask for the young man. This time, again, we'll walk him, so runner on base.
The other problem we have with a lot of these guys coming in from around the regions, they don't play as much baseball as the Auckland-based players, and some of them might only come to a tournament like this with half a dozen games under their belt throughout a complete season. But Noah's had smarts. He's been in a lot of travelling New Zealand youth teams.
So Henry Leaborn, that pitch inside. So his 5th consecutive ball that he's throwing. Probably just needs to try and get the batters to get bat on ball here and use his outfield to get the outs if he is going to struggle a little bit.
Bayside will probably be looking now to try and push 2 runs across however they possibly can right now to bring the mercy rule back into play, being the bottom of the 7th. That would walk off this game under the 10-run rule.
Oh, good curveball. Just didn't quite get the control on it. But great intent. Not an easy pitch to throw. Good to see a young man doing it at this level, though. Prepared to back himself.
Sometimes, too, with the numbers they're on, they learn very quickly to be pitch smart and how to select their pitches a lot better. Oh, very close.
Almost picked off Son at first base. As we have a look here.
Great snap throw down the line there by the catcher.
Ooh, very close. And now full count. So he's just starting to settle down a little bit here. Noah Sianui. Sonny the runner on first. High. And we'll walk him. Now suddenly runners on first and second in scoring position. It doesn't get any easier too for North Shore because Eric Greenwald is the next batter up.
I mean, absolute credit to North Shore today for sort of at one point being 12 runs to 1 down. Now sort of coming back into this game at 14-6.
Strike called better here from Noah Sianui. And again, Greenwald will probably be the first time he's seen this pitcher, and therefore he's going to need to just probably make a few adjustments himself. And he gets bat on that. And again, Tyrone bowler. And bases are loaded. So that pressure again. Another just little errors, little fielding errors. And here is the chance that we talk about for North Shore now to finish this game and bring the mercy rule into play.
The winning run is standing at second base. I want to say winning run, the run responsible for winning the game.
Henry Leaborn out there. If Henry comes across, then that will be the game, effectively the walk-off.
Seeing another pitching change.
So an RBI double, and the game will be over. Dan Tan deciding that he might just have a wee pitch.
Looks like maybe young Matty Fegan, who we know Matty can pitch after, but he's on his way back out of injury, so looks like bringing in young Matthew. No, bringing Taichi Nakao back to the mound. Chosen to bring Taichi back into the game.
Just explain that. So, like, we see a player go out of the game, but in the case of pitching, you can bring a pitcher back, can you?
No, he hasn't been brought back in. What he's done is he was moved to another position on the field. So as long as he starts at pitcher and stays on the field in some other position, he can be brought back into the role of pitcher.
Just clear that up for non-baseball people. So
once you come out of the game, you're out of the game.
He's already been used, but the fact he was never actually taken out of the game after pitching, he was just put back into the outfield, and therefore they can go back to him, which generally when you've got a deep roster, you won't see a pitcher being played elsewhere, and therefore once they do exit a game, that is them done.
I think in North Shore's case, when you've got a mid-infielding glove, in the case of Taichi Nakao, he's not a guy at any point you're going to leave out of your fielding, out of your defensive unit.
It's the same on the other side. Andrew Mark went straight off the mound to shortstop, so there's nothing stopping him from coming back and pitching now if he wanted to. We saw that the counties team, Taylor Irwin, Randy Yard, Dominic Elliott, key guys, key bats in the lineup. You want those guys, you want their bats in the lineup. So even when they're not pitching, you find a way to get them in.
Again, it goes to the depth, doesn't it? We don't quite yet have that saturation and that depth of players with the skill set.
It's got rather dark, rather cold, and rather windy here all of a sudden. There is rain forecast later in the day. Doesn't appear to be here right now, but wouldn't want that to become a factor either, as we feel we're getting towards the last right spin. getting to that point for the last hour or so, to be fair.
2 more runs from the Bayside Wolves. The mercy rule will come into play because it'll be a 10-run deficit. And this game will be over. Cooper Grant, who's already just come off the mound as a pitcher. I think the second change, in fact, the only second change behind Andrew Mark. So Mark pitched brilliantly, and then they decided to make the change. They went to this young man.
Looking at Reed Fowler on deck, I'd say we're now at the 8 and 9, number 9 batters in the lineup, and then be back to the top with Duncan Isaacs.
Yeah, Reed Fowler up next. He's actually had a very good game today.
He has.
Get some swinging, foul ball away.
Again, probably just got a wee bit under that, a wee bit late onto it, got up and under. Lucky it went foul.
Taichi Nikau. And big hit this time, out through to left field. The runner will come home and score. So 1 run away from wrapping up this final. And the winning run on third base.
And you can actually see there was no hurry with no outs now. The Bayside runners didn't look to do anything silly, knowing they're getting through to the top of their order now and needing only 1 run, and the base is now loaded.
Another hit for Cooper Grant. That'll give him a huge amount of confidence in a national final on TV. So well done to him. Well done to Marty Grant, his father, who's a big fan. And now Reed Fowler. Will he read the last rights? Then he gets bat on ball. And this time they should get the out at home plate. And so 1 out. Bases are loaded. Winning run still on third base. But we go back to the top of the order. And it is Duncan Isaacs who has a chance now to wrap the game up for Bayside. And how appropriate that would be. Very much been the star of this tournament with the bat.
Just quickly going back to Marty Grant, he's probably spending his time this weekend in Nelson putting together the final touches of the BNZ National 13 and Under tournament to be held down there next weekend, starting this Wednesday, I believe, in Nelson.
Yeah, the crew fly down tomorrow, I think. Umpires and officials, Pandy and Debbie, Chris Richards and co.
And Isaacs looks to pull that one down the right field line into foul ball territory.
Such a natural swing, just doesn't seem to put a lot of power behind it, but he certainly does have it there.
Okay, another foul ball. Count will go to 1 and 2.
The call of heads no longer needed with no other games going on at the park at the moment.
It's been a bit of the catch cry for the last few days. This is Follett Field at Lord Ellesmere Park. Yet to be named second diamond behind us.
And he gets bat on that up through. That'll be it. It is all over. It will be the Bayside Wolves who win the national title. Duncan Isaacs, how appropriate with the RBI to wrap it all up. 16-6. 16-6. And they go after Isaacs. That is great to see. It has been a dominating display from start to finish. North Shore a little bit of a rally, but really the damage was done through the first 3 innings of this game. Congratulations to the Bayside Wolves on winning New Zealand Baseball's National Club Championship. Mark Irwin, when you look at that team on paper, they were a class act. There were very few weaknesses in this lineup. It was a simple case of just making sure they got the job done, and they put the pressure on early, and then it really just got away from a very young but promising North Shore side.
I think that's completely it. They got out to a really good start. They put runs on the board. They defended really well. Andrew Mark on the mound pitching, showing his experience. But, you know, on another day it could have been another time. You know, North Shore just weren't in this today. All credit to them fighting back, coming back to a 16-6, sort of making that scoreline a wee bit more respectable. But no, fantastic game of baseball, and what a way to finish 5 days of wonderful men's championship.
Yeah, and well done to Andrew Mark, who decided today that he would start on the mound and pitch, go back to almost come full circle in his career. And what a player. Front quarter there, Carter. A great side. But I've got to say, when you look at the under-19 tournament won by North Shore, you look at the youth within this North Shore team, it's only a matter of time before that maturity kicks in.
Oh, 100%. They are a team of the future. They've worked together now for a number of years. The program over there with Dan Tan, Tashiki Nikau, and some of the other coaches that are now coming through that program's in a really good spot.
And also earlier on today, Counties Manukau picking up the bronze medal in a very closely fought contest over Auckland Central, 2-1, and plenty of depth in that side, in both those sides. Plenty of good pitching, plenty of good young talent as well. So the sport just starting to really reap the rewards of a lot of hard work being put in. We've got Dale Budge standing by with Duncan Isaacs and also Andrew Mark. Over to you, Dale.
Well, Duncan Isaacs, congratulations, mate. National champion once again. Massive performance from you personally over the weekend. How satisfying to drive in those winning runs just then?
Oh, no, that was awesome, man. Words can't explain how awesome that was to finish the game like that for my team. It's just no words can explain the feeling, yeah.
Quite a crazy game. You guys sort of jumped out, you got that big lead, you felt like the Moose rule was going to come into play a little bit earlier, and then they sort of fought back and made a bit of a game, but cool for them to make a game of it, yeah?
Absolutely. You know, North Shores, they've been like this every game we've played them. They fight hard till the very end, and they showed it today.
Mate, a dominant performance all weekend from you guys, undefeated through the tournament. I think if you look at some of the individual stats, they're pretty phenomenal. What is it about this group of guys that seem to get the best out of each other and produce these amazing results?
Yeah, it's just the camaraderie that we have in this group. You know, we're all really good friends on and off the field, so let's hope that we keep the same team moving forward.
Absolutely, mate. Go and enjoy it with your teammates. We'll try and bring Andrew Mark in a moment.
Appreciate you.
Yes, wonderful moment indeed. A quality side. They've set the standard. Now all the teams around the country have sort of 6 or 7 months over winter to think about it, to have a look at their rosters, to realise, to work on what they need to do to try and close the gap. Let's go back to Dale Budge standing by with Mr. Baseball himself, Andrew Mark.
Andrew Mark, I've lost count. How many of these have you won now?
Not enough. I think it's about 6, but we're going to keep going.
Mate, we just talked to Duncan. He's put in a phenomenal performance across the weekend, as have a number of your teammates. What is it about this group of guys that seem to produce the baseball and play the right way? You play competitively, you push each other, but it gets results, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, if you put enough savages on the field, things will happen, and that's what we are. We're savages, we're hungry, and we've been training for this from the start of the season. Just win this, and we did, and we won Auckland, and boys are pretty chuffed, so yeah.
It's certainly a season to celebrate, mate, on a personal level. Reeling back the years, you won a number of national titles pitching the gold medal match some years ago when you were wearing a different coloured uniform. What was the sort of thinking behind this one, and how satisfying was it?
Yeah, I knew I could do it. It hurts a lot, but that's why I don't pitch for the Tuatara or anything, because I won't be able to do anything tomorrow or for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, like I said, the boys have been putting in so much work, and I just wanted to win it for them, so I gave them everything I had.
But it wasn't too long ago that this club was on its knees. There was a chance that it wouldn't survive. Great storied history, but really needed something to change. And so a couple of people that have got involved and turned it around to the powerhouse that it is now. Who are some of the people that I guess deserve a bit of a pat on the back in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Bailey was the one who recruited me initially, and Jody McFarlane's done another great job taking over. Scott's taken my position because I was supposed to be playing Tuatara, unfortunately COVID. There's some really good people. Andy Wurr and Nicky and all the people on the committee are just amazing. And I guess that's what happens when you have good people up top, because we've got good junior programs and good players coming up too.
Absolutely. The future certainly looks bright, mate. I'll let you go and collect some more silverware to add to that collection. Well done. Enjoy the off-season. Not too much. We're looking forward to seeing you back in Tuatara uniform next summer.
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Well, that is it from Follett Field in Howard Pakuranga at Lloyd Elsmore Park. Congratulations once again goes to Bayside Wolves winning the New Zealand Baseball Championships for 2021. On behalf of myself, Mark Irwin and Dale Budge, it's been a privilege and a pleasure. Don't forget, coming up on Sky Next tonight, over the next 6 nights, it is the New Zealand Swimming Championships, which also double up as the Olympic Games qualifiers.